Welcome, guys. Welcome. It's Worldly Wednesday, and the war rages through our section of the galaxy. We're sort of at war with the Camino now. It's going to be a pretty long and bitter war, I think. So we might just do a bit of a summary as to what's going on. We've lost the Afar system at the end of the last session, and we have taken the SCADA system. I didn't realise that they were sort of so close to the same name. Actually, so what's going on here? Have a bit of a look. So we have the Odessa system through there, and then the SCADA system through here. So we've taken this one from them. They've taken that one from us with a massive fleet. So their ships are about 4 or 5 times stronger than any of my ships. So when we see big fleets like their third fleet, we're looking at something really, really quite substantial. So we're going to have to figure that one out as we sort of move through. It was sort of unfortunate. We actually we got tricked in the last session by following their third fleet away from here. I think actually no, they've got an invasion fleet as well. I don't know if we can see that. Let's have a bit of a look and see. They've just got, this is their attack fleet. Their third fleet is sitting back in here, just sort of having now claimed all of this area. Their actual their landing force, you can see it's they're going to be picked up by another group. So they're actually going to be leaving this particular system. But we were trying to catch their invasion fleet and surprise them, and it didn't work out at all. They actually doubled back, and they travel a lot faster. The Caminos travel a lot faster in hyperspace than what we do. So when we follow them, they can then move off very, very quickly. You can see there's other fleets of theirs. Even their little fleets, like this, their 7th Defence Force, is a problem for us, because our big fleets, like if I go to the... we've got a fleet there. The 4th Invasion Fleet is actually retrofitting. This is actually our main troop transport. We also then have the 7th Strike Force, as you can see there, is retrofitting. So the 8th Fleet is a big fleet of ours. You can see there the total firepower is about 3,000, and that's with 22 ships, whereas we look at a small ship like this, their 7th Defence Force, which has only got 6 ships in it, and has a power rating there of 4,600, which is even that is double. So 6 ships is more than double the firepower of my, or about double the firepower of my poor old 22 ship fleet in through that side. So we've got a fair few big fleets. Having said that, our fleets do perform well. So we've sort of geared them to attack the enemy. Got more fleets coming back in. There's a 3,000 power fleet of the enemy. They're the purple colour. 6th Strike Force, unknown mission, but it looks like it's moving in as well into the Cardama system. So it looks like the Cardama system is now going to be the next point of attack for the enemy, which could be a problem for us. We have our first defence fleet back into here, which is now retrofitting at the Epia spaceport. Where is that? Let's have a quick look at this particular location. So this is Epia back into here. So we're doing the retrofits on our fleets in through this other side, and this is the world that we took over from the enemy. You can see there we've got a lot of troops on the ground here. I'm going to keep them here, and then we're just going to keep on going and picking up more. There's no screaming rush for us to do too much. Trouble is, we're going to start to get this war weariness kicking in, which is then going to impact our money. So the war weariness is certainly on the downward trend. We do actually have like this, and even -4 is actually a little bit of a concern for us. If you have a look at the diplomacy and have a bit of a look, our reputation is bad, but is improving, over time. We did attack a whole lot of civilian ships before we declared war. If we have a look at the Miletus, they've got significant war weariness, so over time we should be able to push them to the point where they will make peace with us again, where hopefully they will start to sort of pay for their sins as such. We started this war, so unfortunately we do get even if we have a look and see what their war weariness actually is, it's significant through there. They will get bonuses because we were the ones who declared war. This is reputation factors, which is not the war weariness. aspect. But they do actually have a bonus there because we were the ones who declared war. But quite often that's something that really does impact the way that you then play the game. And for us, -4 is actually is unusual, I guess, for the Gizareans. We've got like a lot of aspects about who we are that actually make war weariness, sort of we can actually deal with this quite substantially. I should actually do a bit of a deep dive into how this actually does work. Thanks there for the subscription there, Phenomonix. Very, very much appreciated. Hi, William Thomas, and saying in, and Kuja Grim as well, saying hi. So welcome, guys. And if you've got any questions, please sing out. Like it's an incredible game, Distant Worlds 2. Incredible in so many different ways, but it's a simulation game at its heart, more so than a 4X Space 4X. So the simulation aspect is takes a little bit to get used to, but it's good. It's just, it makes the game so much more, it feels so much more realistic in what your goals actually are. So my goal here is not to crush the enemy. My goal is, like right now, it's survival, to actually be able to defeat their fleets. So we're sort of looking at trying to purpose build our fleets to do damage to their fleets, which is sort of really, really fascinating. I find that little aspect really, really interesting. So you've got to sort of be innovative all the time with what you're doing. Now, what's this one here? That's what is that? What's this world? Mangrove Forest Moon, the Rings of Miletus. Oh, that's their home world. That's the home world, the little star there. Okay, well, I was sort of thinking, what have I got clicked on there? Somehow I had their home world selected. This is actually just the troops that they've got on their home world back into this other side. So we have certainly a massive army out here in the Shidar system. We have our strongest fleet is also out here. And we do ultimately want to be taking over Citadel as well. This is a little way off. Citadel is actually what we wanted to get as our prime goal in terms of achieving things in the actual war itself. But it was too well defended when we went there, so we skipped across to the Shidar system and took this world, which is still not insubstantial with 570 million. The Gizareans that live here, these were actually independent worlds, but they were taken over by the Quamina. You can see there's sort of like a little, almost like a turtle-looking character there, and then there's more like the Gizareans that we sort of see through this other side. So there's this is our home worlds are back in here, so we're sort of miles away from the actual home worlds themselves. So we've had to build up enough fleets to then be able to go and attack into where the Quamino are sort of really operating. If we have a look at the war scores, I'll come back to the war weariness and what the impact of that actually is, in terms of how that then impacts the actual simulation of the game. Okay, so Phenomenix is then saying, someone actually got it for me recently. Excited to jump into it this weekend. It's a great game. Look, it's sort of one of these games where it looks overwhelming, but don't be overwhelmed by it. Like there's, in fact, I might even sort of do a bit of a step out of the game in a little while and just sort of maybe even sort of go through what to do when you first start playing, because it's one of these games. Every other 4X, you've got to rush to try to take territory and do all sorts of other things like that. So you're always trying to expand as fast as you possibly can. In this game, expansion leads to essentially running out of money very, very quickly. So you've got to expand, but expand slowly and be able to do it in a meaningful. In fact, I'll be showing you that when we go through this war weariness to a large degree. So I'll just keep on sort of moving through. You can see we've got a fair few. This is actually sort of mid game, I guess. We're looking at the game at this point in time, where there's lots of different things sort of going on with it, with where we actually are. Anyway, let's continue on. So we've got the we've got a war score up through here as well with this particular war that's going on, and you can see there we've got plus 209,000. Now, having said that, they have actually been able to peg back and actually fight back against us. We actually were miles ahead of this, and in recent times we've now sort of been losing a little bit. And so for us, we're on the left-hand side with the Afar Unity Swarm, and we're sort of playing as an insectoid faction, which is good at scavenging, essentially, is really what we do. Anyway, we've destroyed 4 of their bases at a value of 36,000. They've destroyed one basis of ours at a value of 6,000. So you can see there that value for value, their bases are even worth more. So even just going after their bases is going to raise the war score. And this is actually what you then use in diplomacy to be able to then go and negotiate. It sort of gives you a bit of a like if they're like, there's a few different factors that come down to how a war will end. If we can get mildly, like massively ahead of where they actually are with this war score, then that sort of certainly works good for us in terms of negotiation. But a lot of it comes down to war weariness. That's going to be sort of like the main factor. Military ships destroyed. We've destroyed 10 of them. They've only destroyed 3 of ours, so we have been able to get the jump on them. And again, you can see that the value is 26,000 with that. So 2.6 thousand per military ship destroyed. They've destroyed 3 of, and this is again where the value of their ships is so much better than ours. So the value of ours, even losing 3, it's less than the value of one of their ships. So it is like a 4-to-1 ratio of the value of their ships. Other ships destroyed 2. They've destroyed 1 of ours. Troops destroyed. We've destroyed 7 of theirs, and they've destroyed 12 of ours, which is not good. Like that. So there has been like a fair few troops destroyed in the various attacks that have gone on. We've captured the Afar System, which is also worth a lot of 335,000. It was an important colony. Whereas they did capture SP-Oxo, which is the moon that they've actually now just captured in the Adasa system, and so that actually only has a rating of 178 because it's a much smaller planet. And then finally, ships captured. We did capture one of their ships, which is also valued at 3,600. So we actually have some of their ships around. Actually, that banished action. We should actually find that, because what I'm trying to do is actually I'm trying to capture their tech. So anyway, war weariness, how does that one work? So as their war weariness comes, like as we sort of get more and more war weariness, and that's going to happen the longer we stay in war, but also for them, the Miletus is going to have a big problem with their war weariness, that they're going to accelerate more than what we do. If we go back to this is the Empire tab in through here, and you've got different things. You've sort of got like the economy, how that one actually does work. We'll come back and talk about that in a minute when we talk about the actual war weariness effects. Maintenance in through there, what we're paying for, the government in through there, what type we've got to sell hegemony, and it sort of then gives you lots of information about how that one does work. This is not a hive mind, but it's close to it. So it's sort of like it's like a mini hive mind. A hive mind is like what the other bug factions are. Like the main bug faction is the Boscara, which is this group in through here. There's sort of like this reddy, sort of pale red colour, and so they're another bug faction which are sort of expanding fairly well actually. But they actually, these ones don't have a hive mind, which was unusual. They normally have a hive mind. There is another bug faction out here as well, which does actually have a hive mind, and that sort of is quite powerful. A hive mind allows you to stay in wars for a long period of time, but the cell hegemony does actually help a little bit. You'll see their war weariness reduction of 10%. So we can stay in wars a little bit. We get a bit of a boost that way. We also have, if we go back into all the bonuses, you'll sort of see that there should be a war weariness reduction there of plus 40%. And so when we hover over that one, we can see there that our Gizarian race is plus 30, plus the cell hegemony is another plus 10. So we end up with a plus 40 in terms of the war weariness reduction. For the Quamino, if I go back into this one and have a look at the Miletus in through this other side, their war weariness here is going to be is going to be significant, because they won't have these same bonuses. These are a geneocracy with what they actually have. We don't have access to this one. These are more like researchers with the way that they sort of do operate, and so they can only stay in war for a very, very short period of time before their war weariness really does kick in. So they're admired with their reputation, which means that they're sort of, it's easier for them to then do diplomacy, whereas we're absolutely revered. We're sort of like people really don't like us because of the attacks that we've done on civilian infrastructure. So we sort of did that before we declared war. Not that it doesn't worry me, because I'm not relying on friendships with other factions, so that's not really a big concern. In terms of how the war weariness affects us, if we just go to our colonies, this is why you don't really need to expand all that far. You sort of see this number here is really the important number. This is actually what the colonies will actually earn you. And so when you're playing the game, have a look at the colonies tab, and it's just the first one through here, which is the colonies and outposts. And what you'll find is that there will be, as you get more and more more and more planets, they will start off, you'll have one planet that will actually perform very, very well, and that will generally be your capital. You get bonuses there. And then they'll dwindle off very, very quickly. So even a massive, like Venex 1 is one of our starting planets. And we ended up with, we've got 5 billion Gizareans on that particular world, but we're only making 12,000 out of that particular world. As we sort of go down through the list, we're making money. So if you're making if it's positive in through here, it's all very well. But then we end up getting like all of these other planets. Like Epio is the planet we just took before. This is Ceridwen in through here, like negative 800 per year essentially. Then we've got another world there, like a smallish world that we've taken, and we've got Gulrath as well. So we've got all these different worlds which are draining money. Now, as it goes through, what we'll sort of find is if I go to any world, even if I go to the home world and I just go and click on it, it then brings up this screen in here, which has got like what we've got. Like we've got we've got more troops to bring into the actual fight for when we're ready. But over through here, we've got the sorry, I'll just start at this with the screen at the start. What we're looking for is to try to maximize the amount of the net tax revenue, because this is what we get to spend. So the final thing here, this net tax revenue, is what we actually want. Coming off that, we then have support costs to run the colony. So this one is just sort of like a direct amount that comes off. And so every single one of these, if I go down to Epia, the planet that we just sort of took over, for example, you'll see its support costs are negative 1,000. You're not going to sort of find anything different than 1,000. Like usually there's 1,000 support cost on at least 1,000 support costs on every single planet. On our home world, we're paying even more. And so this one, the support costs really only go up from 1,000. If you're trying to convince a population, for example, if they're against you, that could be even higher. You can see there the following factors increase colony support costs. So population less than 100 million make it difficult, like with support. Suitability of the population less than 20. So when you've actually looked at the suitability of planet, you don't want to really be settling on planets that are lower than 20. It colours it differently when you actually look at the actual planets themselves. So the game tends to sort of, like if I go into new colonies and have a bit of a look, for example, these are new colonies and outposts. We see how they're coloured orange. These are plus 15, plus 16, but it's really only the plus 20s. This one here, this particular world here, is actually a plus 28, and it doesn't have the low suitability. This means we won't be paying extra for settling on that world, but the other ones we would be paying extra if we did send colonists out to that particular world. But this one here, we could actually settle that world. So, and you can see down through there, the colonisation suitability there is actually fairly high, but we then have to defend it. So we don't want to be sort of rushing into these sorts of things. So settling worlds is not really a big thing. We have another one there which is too far away for us to build. It's so that's somewhere else, well outside our territory. So there's a few of them in through there that would be suitable. The game tends to do it by priority. So it's actually saying that a few of the others that we actually have through here are actually higher value or higher priority than even this good quality one, and they'll be taking into account, I guess, security as well. Like a lot of these are sort of further back into our territory, but I don't really want those because of the low suitability. So if I just go back to the actual colonies that we have again and have a look at the Afar system, so support costs go up again because of the suitability. Unassimilated population. The population, when we take over a world, we then have to assimilate the population. And I'm just trying to think of where we may still have some, for example, the Cardamom 5. If we hover over this one through here, assimilation there is 100% with their, so that one is actually fully assimilated. Epia we just invaded before. Actually, the assimilation there is also 100%, just because they're Gizareans, I think. So that one has actually come through fairly fast with their with the assimilation that they actually had. So that one has adapted very quickly because we are the essentially the Gizarean faction, and so the Gizareans were happy to join us. But quite often it can take a long period of time. Like Gulrath, they're going to be fine with assimilation as well. We don't really have any problems with assimilation with any of these worlds because we haven't done recent invasions of them, except for Epia. So anyway, that's sort of something as well that sort of does impact the support costs and population above 50% of the maximum. So you'll see through here that that's the main cost we actually have in here. So we've got the 1,000 plus, we've got like 2.2 thousand because the maximum population we can have here is essentially 4.8 billion, and we actually have a population on this world of 6 billion. So we're actually overpopulated with what we actually end up having. So yeah, that's interesting actually. I haven't ever seen that before to that extent. So we're 1.2 billion above the population limit. So if we were over say 2.5 billion, the support costs are going to start to rise. So that's what we're sort of seeing in through there. So really what you want to do is make sure that you end up essentially making money, but the taxation, and so I've just cut to the chase with this. So you've got things like, for example, the private sector makes money, there's corruption losses which just come off the top, and then you're left with base revenue if you subtract that. The gross tax revenue in through here is 50,000 minus the support cost. You're then left with what you then earn, which is this number through a year. To get the taxation, which is the important thing in through this side, you need a high taxation rate. The game, in this case 39%, the game actually bases this on all sorts of different factors, which you can impact it yourself, but I just let the AI do it itself. It tries to keep an approval rating of +5. So this will change down a little bit when it does its next look. It will then reduce the tax rate to keep the approval hovering at around about +5. So I'm expecting the 39 in very quick time will then go down. That will then impact what I earn here. So this is actually where you've got to be careful. So approval is what the basis of your money is, and what that means is when you actually have a look at the population here, this is their happiness. So overall they're angry, and then we can sort of see has very high level of development. This is actually the amount of luxury goods that come into the world. Enjoying living at the empire's capital, you always get a +10 because from your capital, which it sort of gives you that little bit of boost of money. We enjoy the colony's high quality environment. Again, that comes down to the quality of the planet itself. So the quality is 59%, and for us the suitability there is +49. So we're getting a boost there as well in terms, and this is all impacts the approval ratings, which then impact the tax rate. So recreation facilities increase our happiness as well. So we've got certain things that have been built. That will be the administration centre. So that the administration centre is now sort of kicking along. Medical facilities increased our happiness as well. That'll be from the starport. And then we have our negatives. So we're concerned about our empire's poor reputation. You can see we don't really care much, even though we're sort of fairly badly negative. For the Gizareans, for insectoid factions, that's not going to be a big concern. For other factions, it may be. So just be aware of that your reputation can impact the overall happiness of your people. We tire of our empire's wars. This is -1, but see, it's not as bad as the war weariness of -4. So it is impacting it. Now, over time, that will increase as the war weariness goes down, but we do have a bonus here of being able to, of it not being as impactful as for other factions. And so the other factions are going to really struggle with, like the Miletus at -17, is going to be impacting their money. Like in a big way. And if we can keep on pushing that our war score up and their war weariness down, we end up essentially in a position where they just can't afford to stay in war anymore, and they'll start to make concessions, and that's really what we're aiming for. High corruption reduces our happiness by -8, because we do have corruption losses there of 35.6, which is not terrible, to be honest. And then we've got the current tax rate is too high, -58. This is what it then uses to balance. So that tax rate of 39 is causing this one to be very, very high, which is fine. That's the way it works. So if we go to the next planet down, for example, to Venex 1, again, you can see they're angry-ish. We're going to have the same problems again with the Tire of the Empire's Wars. Tax rate is too high. This one's at 30%. You can see the approval there. They try to keep these at +4. When we come down to other planets, like, for example, like Brightwick is not even a Gizarians. We have a couple of different factions in through here. Again, they're fully assimilated, so we don't have any real problems in through there. These guys are happy, but see how their approval rate is +20? So this one is not being crushed to get money. We're still making 5,000 from it. We have 2 billion population, a little bit, actually we've got some Naxilians now in here as well. There's like a different faction. And so the Naxilians are also living on this particular world along with the Ugnari. And so these are like fairly large populations of non-Gizarians that we actually have on these worlds. But this one here, the maximum population, 6 billion. And at the moment we're at how much are we? We've got 2 billion in through there. Actually, it's funny, that's the amount there, which should be more than what we're seeing there. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Is that the size of the world? No, that's not the size. That's interesting. It's funny the Naxilians are actually in there as well. That's sort of a different rating there, but that's anyway. From the game's perspective, we're under 50%. You can see their support costs are just 1,000 because we're not. All of those things haven't kicked in. None of them have kicked in, so we just got the basic cost. And you can see there the corruption losses are fairly low on this particular world. As the population grows, that corruption will then come up, which is sort of like a limiting factor. These ones are in through here as well. You'll find this one here is also now being taxed because the maximum population. We're sort of over the maximum population there as well. So the Gizarians can sort of overdo things, and so when our population goes above the 50% of the maximum population, it will then sort of change the tax rate automatically to try to sort of get as much money from them as possible. This one here is still trying to grow, so they're trying to make it as happy as possible. What that does do is then sort of try to get, you can see we've got a maximum population of 3.6 billion, and we've only got a population here of 1.5, so they're still trying to push things up. They're trying to keep this at +20, which will then make the actual reproduction rate, you can see they're 9% in this case, so they're reproducing very, very quickly, which is what the bug factions tend to do that. If we go back to Afar and have a bit of a look, actually still saying 9%. That should be much lower than that, but just based on the happiness levels of the actual population itself. Anyway, as we sort of go back through, each planet then has its own thing, but in very, very basic terms, anything that impacts your happiness impacts your money. So when we look at the -4, that's just going to make our cash flow a little bit more tricky. And so we have to be a bit careful. By the way, if you've played the first game but haven't played the second game, you'll notice that in the first game, the Distant Worlds 1, if you were in the red here, you were in trouble economically. That's not the case in Distant Worlds 2. It's a bit more forgiving. There's aspects of the private sector which you don't like, which don't really sort of. Where you don't have to worry about them yourself, which does mean that you can actually be in the red in terms of cash flow, and rely on bonus income, which is sort of what we've been doing. So, but this is at high, like -24,000 in cash flow is going to be hard for us to control, and so we can then have a quick look at the actual economy, and you'll sort of see through here that most of our income comes from tax. So the projected, like the previous year was 84,000. We're going to lose 10,000 in tax this year because I'm thinking of the wars and so on and so forth. So all of those factors. This is why again wariness can be a big factor, in terms of the money that you're going to then earn through taxation. Then you've got your actual expenses, and our expenses are 98,000. They were previously at 148,000. I'm not sure what the difference is there. Troop maintenance is higher this year. We did actually have shipbuilding. Okay, we've stopped our shipbuilding. Troop recruitment is finished as well. facility building, we're sort of done with that as well this year. So there's a lot of things that cost us stuff in the previous year that we no longer have to sort of really go and contend with. So we had like about 50,000 in terms of extra costs that we don't have to do anymore. So we've actually built our fleets in the previous year. So we still have a negative cash flow there of 24,000. So there is a bit of a discrepancy. This comes from 73,000 minus 98,000 gives me negative 24,000. But we then have bonus incomes. And in the previous year, we had a bonus income of 64,000. We're nearly halfway through the year, but we've only had bonus income of nearly 4,000. So we've just got to hope that we end up with more. The shipbuilding is the private sector. Essentially buying ships from us, and that's a good source of income, and then discoveries as well. So we've sort of like this is actually things where we've found money in or cash in the stuff like left over from battles and stuff. So when there's battles, we can actually then go and take we can scavenge for loot that way. So we have a few different sorts of ways of getting. Bonus income, fuel sales, you can see is not all that much. Tourism is in the game is essentially where your own people will then go and actually visit resort bases that you've established, which essentially just gives you a source of income. We don't rely much on that one, but it still is a source of bonus income. So bonus income is really quite important. But I won't worry about too much of the other bits and pieces. We've got the private economy is actually very, very healthy in our empire. This is actually something we don't control at all. And this is actually so they actually have like a very, very high private cash flow. They what they do is they sort of invest in the infrastructure to be able to go and collect the luxury resources, which ultimately then means that the more healthy your private sector is, the more money they're going to make on those planets, and the more that you then get through taxation. So having a thriving private economy, which you don't control, is really important as well. So everything's sort of looking fairly good there from the economy point of view. Just read a few of the comments again. So Ronhardt saying, for me, who struggles with the complexity of Solaris, this game seems to be too much granular and complicated. Well, you'll notice that I'm explaining things, but I haven't done anything at all with that. I haven't actually made any decisions at all around any of the stuff we've just spoken about. I haven't said tax them at this rate, or I haven't said anything at all to the game other than take this planet or take that planet. And that's pretty much. So I'm working on a very distant strategic level with a very complex, it is a very, very complex simulation running underneath it, but I'm actually not telling it to do all this stuff. It's just, this is how the mechanics work. And so if you know that essentially war weariness and happiness means essentially at the end of the day, it just distills down to this cash flow. And that's pretty much all it is. So when you're doing things, anything that affects your cash flow is ultimately going to affect what you can do in the game. So all I'm really looking at with all these things, when I look at at anything that impacts the happiness of who we're playing as, I'm just thinking in terms of money. So if we get a bonus to happiness, hey, happy days. That's going to mean more money for us to then go and do things. And so at the end of the day, this is what's important. And so you're managing what you can do with your money, but you don't have to know about all the taxation stuff other than the fact that that's what's going on in the simulation. So it's not abstracted. Everything is sort of like every single resource has to be on the actual world. So it's not. It looks really, really overwhelming because of the simulation aspect of the game, but it's actually not. Like it's sort of. It really is something where you can distill it down to important things to look for. And so when I see the war weariness, I'm mindful I don't really want that to go much above 10 or 11 or 12, because that's going to then make it even harder for me to actually make money. And if we start to, if our cash goes backwards in a big way, and we end up where we just can't survive, we then have to look at cutting costs. And that's going to mean killing off troops and doing stuff like that. So we're going to have to sort of then start to cull, it's essentially sort of work with our losses. So we're really just managing the cash is really sort of what we're trying to do at this point in time. Phenomenal says, saying definitely interesting. I'm curious if the map pop is based on its size, or if the based off what the planet can produce to feed its people. It sort of essentially comes down to a combination of size and quality. I think is sort of like what it can actually then go and do. I haven't really had a close look at that. It just tends to have, like it tends to do what it does. Like if we go back into the into the colonies again and the new colonies. And if we have a look at this this world, the URG world, and through here, for example, as a continental moon. If I just go across to it and sort of zoom in, I'll just go and find where it actually is. So this is it here. So this is a continental moon, and in through this other side, where so it's sort of like it's a bit of a lush world that nearly every faction will be able to sort of do this one. It's got extremely high quality, and so the colonization suitability is high for all of the different factions that we actually have under our control: the Gizareans, the Ugnari, and the Naxilians. So they all can enjoy living on this world, but it's not really what their core world is, but the overall quality is very, very high. And so we can actually have a look at the world itself. We do actually have, there's still unknown items that are present here. It's got polymer. It does actually have Yaris marble. These are luxury goods in through this other side. This is actually a standard construction resource. 3 location bonuses, so we do end up getting the 7% colony development from resources. So these are all just from the resources on the world itself. It does sort of give us bonuses to colony development. Colony development, again, leads to higher taxation. So that sort of just means to colony development leads to happiness. Happiness leads to taxation. The way it sort of does work. And then the colonization suitability there is, you can see there the actual quality is 78, but the suitability here is only 28. The way that works is it's a bit convoluted, but there's a 50, by default, there's sort of like a negative 50 suitability for all worlds, and then you have a bonus on top of that. So 78 minus 50 is 28. None of our factions here have any actual suitability for this world. So they don't actually have a native suitability. If we were playing as the humans or something like that, where they do actually have a suitability for continental moons, that would go even higher than 28. It would actually be, in fact, I can show you that, because if we go into the Galactopedia, which is F1, and then just go back into the government factions, so the alien races, and go to humans, we'll sort of find, if we scroll down to here, that they have suitability, colonization suitability. So the negative 50 plus, in this case, we're looking at a continental moon, they have a plus 15. This is their most suitable world, is to actually do this one. So their plus 28 will actually be another plus 15 on top of that one. So we're looking at a colonization suitability for humans of what's that, plus 43, around 43. So for them it's extremely suitable for what they actually end up having. For some of the others, like the Boscara, there can be negatives as well. And so the Boscara have a negative 10 for continental. And so these like volcanic, sulfur volcanic and carbonaceous worlds, but they do actually have, for continental, it's actually a negative. So for them, it wouldn't be 28, it would be 18, which would then take it below that 20 threshold. So for the Boscara, this is not a very desirable world. For Gizareans, we're not going to see anything at all there for continental. So for us, it's just a baseline negative 50, essentially, with what we end up having. So it's a bit convoluted the way that one does work, but each faction has its own colonization suitability bonuses. And for us, there's no pros or cons, but it's just a really exceptional world. And so for this world here, we have the... bit hard to tell. I never really bother looking at the actual worlds themselves in terms of the size. We've got the diameter. I know the diameter has a bearing on what it does do, but I haven't really had a good look at that myself. I just think, yep, plus 28, I'll go for it. I'll settle it. So that's something that. The reason I can't do this one, by the way, if I go across this particular world, which is back over in here. So this world in here is another continental planet, which has got very, very high quality. So this one here is 84, and in this case, the world is too far away from any of my existing locations. It's funny because it's close to that. So I always set up my games to actually have a colonization range limit of 150 m, which is sort of like, if I press the Alt key, I then go into display distances, and I can go from Shidar, which we do have a presence, and have a look at this one. This is just outside the 150 m, 160 m. If I was settled somewhere a bit closer, anything with 150 m of where I've got a colony, I can then go and colonize it. In this case, I'm 165 m away, so I just can't quite get there. By default, the game has 300. The reason I play it at 150 m is because I like the fact that I then have to try to do other things to get these exceptional worlds. And in this case, I just can't do it. But this is also the same reason that, for example, these guys can't actually do it. Now, the Camino should like Continental Worlds. If we have a, like, so this one here, if we go and press the Alt key and go from their home world across to here, it's 165 from there. They've got this one as well. Just go and click it, 180 from that world. And so nothing, this is sort of, can't really be colonized without a stepping stone world in the way. Like, so if there was another world that we could take, we could go and sort of, for example, establish an outpost somewhere and then go and colonize this particular world. But it's an expensive thing to do. But that would then sort of, that's the only real way of colonizing this one. If we go to this one here and just have a quick look and see, that's 157. Even that one we can't, we could invade this world and take it, but even that still doesn't leave this one accessible. And I really like this aspect, so I always play with that sort of quite small in terms of colonization. But as I say, the default for the game is 300M, which means that that would have already been settled by now. So anyway, we'll just continue on. So Reinhardt's saying, I guess the insect people don't enjoy visiting the Eiffel Tower. I don't know what you mean by that one. Tourism can get crazy high amounts of income. It can do, depending on the faction. So we, like for us, I don't think if tourism is a massive. If we just go back to our bonuses in through here, you can see trade income is -8. Tourism income, God, where is it? It should be in the list, unless it just happens to end up being 0. But usually, depending on who you're playing as, you'll get positives or negatives. And I would have thought we would have been negative in terms of tourism. I can't see it there. If we have there's sometimes you do get bonuses there. I'm just not seeing where we actually have it. You can see diplomacy is negative for us. Getting ambassadors is actually negative as well. You can see there what is impacting, what's likely to happen. Scientists are very hard for us to get. We don't have any scientists with what we're doing. Trade income. Yeah, we have. We don't do well with trade, but looks like we've maybe just gone 0 for the tourism. But again, if we have a look at humans, they're probably going to be positive in that sort of sense, I would guess, with the bonuses that they end up having. And then Reinhardt's saying, so in other words, even if it looks very granular, one does not need to engage in all these tiny cogwheels. Absolutely. No, you don't need to, because it all boils down to money, pretty much. So when I, like with this game here, I let the game play itself for 20 years in game time, not in real time. So I let it just play itself for 20 years, and then I took over. So I wanted to have a bit of a challenge, and that was what we did, playing as the Gizareans. So we didn't sort of do too much with them I was literally, I just sat and watched it, and it took maybe 20 minutes, I guess, to play out those 20 years. I played it on maximum speed, and the rule that I gave myself when I did that one was that if there was a war that started against us, we got into a war, I would take over at that point. But other than that, I'd just let it go for 20 years and then take over. So what I did there was, if we go back in again to the into your empire, the last tab here is your policy settings, which, like, a policy is such a bad word for what this actually is. This is your automation settings. And so when you start, most things will be automated or at least give you information. And so if we go to advisors and automation in through here, you've got this drop down through here. Now I've customized, as you start to click on the automation, there's all your automation in through here. Essentially, you've got, like, in basic terms, you've got either fully automated or fully manual. So the colony population policy is fully automated. So I don't want to be doing things like, for example, doing the tax rates and stuff like that. I don't care about that. Just the AI manage it for me. So the game simulation will simulate and take over anything you want it to. The main thing I do is I just go back in here to the drop down, go to default is my starting point, and then from there, the only other thing I change at the very, very start of the game is to scroll down to the very bottom of this little tab where it's got all the fleet stuff. So anything that says fleet, I change all of these to manual because these are all set to automatic at the start in the default settings. But these, you can see there, it's either automatic or manual. But then we have a few other little nuanced things like, diplomacy for treaties or for war. It can either be, again, you can actually just fully automate and let the AI decide what wars to go into or get out of. You can have it where it will actually suggest and execute, where it will actually make a suggestion on the left-hand side to say, hey, I'm thinking about declaring war. If you don't say yes or no, I'm just going to do it anyway. And so that's the first one, suggest and execute. The next one, which is sort of the default for most things, will be just suggest, where it won't execute. So it'll just say, I think it's a good idea if we declare war on X, Y, or Z, but it won't then start the war. And then finally, you're just back to fully manual again. So this is sort of like what most of the automation is, and there's a lot in through here. As I start to do things like the base construction, I get sick of it asking me. So I just do base construction on automatic. And chip construction, I get sick of it asking me about that as well, like fairly early on in the game. And so I change that from suggest down to manual. So these both start on suggest. The repair abandoned ships and bases, I like it to tell me that to go in, that's thinking of doing that. So again, the AI here will just manage everything, like if you're wanting to. And again, with the drop downs, you've got, for example, rule in absence, where everything is automated. Pretty much. There's still a few little things that you need to tweak, but it really is just sit back and watch what happens. So it is a simulation game at its core, but it's still very extremely complex. And these are all the different automation settings. You've got all sorts of different things you can tell it to go and do. Like there will be, for example, there'll be the happiness settings for how it taxes. I don't care about that stuff. I just let it do its thing, but you can tweak them if you're wanting to. Weapon focuses, what you're going to be then focusing on, what your preferences are. You've got, essentially sort of how you, starting roll for iron weapons. I manage all this manually anyway, so it's one thing. The cruisers back in through there. So it goes from escorts, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, battleships, and carriers. To be honest, I've got iron weapons on my frigates in this early part of the game. But if I choose that one there and have the AI automatically design ships for me, then it'll just do that at that point. So again, there's a lot of things it can then go and sort of do. With sort of setting up all sorts of things with automation. Again, you don't need to know about it if you just click, just find the things that are important to you. For me, it's fleets. I like to build my own fleets. I like to design some of my own ships, like purpose build them, and that's it pretty much. And then the rest of it is just pretty much just on default. So which means that most times they're just going to be asking me. So it's So you don't the game is overwhelming in terms of if you had to manage every single aspect, but you don't. You really don't. It's sort of one of these things where you can sort of take it fairly easily. Just read a few more. So you can interact with it as much or as little as you want to, says Warness. Yes. I just wanted saying, Reinhardt, as you said, you have already been visiting the Chrysler building. This still is a different kind of building. I don't know what you mean by that. Pierce is then saying, I guess these guys are a murder, death, kill kind of empire with that low ambassador appearance. Yes, now we are essentially the percentage there of getting. We're not a diplomatic faction. We are actually an aggressive faction. Also, that's another thing as well. Like if we go to victory conditions, we're coming fourth. And if I hover over that one, every single faction has got, like if we go to the Miletus, they're actually coming lower than us, but their economy is higher than ours by a fair amount actually. And so their population is lower than ours, so they've got lower population but better economy. And then the territory that they control is a little bit less than what we've got. So you can sort of see there the percentages that come through. This is your score to win the game. And you've got a victory threshold through here, which is set to 70% at this stage. The last one we lost because of this. Then we look at the in red, it's got the Comino race victory conditions. This is essentially what they're trying to achieve themselves. Have the fewest treaties in the galaxy. They've got 0 treaties and that's 20% of their extra scores that they have. And so they've achieved that one. They've got, so they're not friendly with anyone. These guys are isolationists, and so they have the fewest treaties in the galaxy. They've achieved that one, 0 treaties, and so they're 100% on the progress score of 20% of the 5%. So essentially that's 20% of 5% is 1% of the overall, but you can see in the red system, that's kicking in fairly majorly for what they're doing. They have 35% they have the most completed research branches in the galaxy. Now this is the end game things. This is not going to happen early on. They're going to be 0% there until the very, very end game. But at the very end, they could end up with a massive boost along into that particular aspect. 25% build the Transcendence Hub at a colony. Again, they have to research that one before they can do it. And 20% reach 30% Empire bonus level in Ancient Knowledge. So they're looking for Ancient. This is really what they're all about. So you get a very good feel for who you're up against when you actually look at their victory conditions. So for us, playing as the Gizarians, we then sort of see that for us, we need to capture the most ships and bases in the galaxy. Capturing ships for us is really important. This is actually one of the main ways that we get technology. So building your ships to capture ships has a big, big bearing. And you can see there that we're already at 100%, like we've got maximum score in that sense right through there. 25% capture the most ships and bases, and we've got 24 that we've captured. 25% have the most colonies in the galaxy. The Daort Inquisition has 22 colonies. So we're not quite there with this one yet, but we'll get there eventually. Like we'll start to sort of, so again, we expand. The bug factions are expansionists, and the Daorts are they're an arachnid or bug, they're still a bug faction, but they actually have 22 colonies. We need to build the most military ships in the galaxy. The Artooks have actually got 394 military ships built. So we're a long way behind that. We don't have anywhere near that number of military ships. And spend the most time at war in the galaxy. So the Corellia Coalition Republic has spent 53 years at war. Now that's actually, they're at war also with the Miletus. But they're, so for us, I've been trying to keep us out of war until we're ready. And we're sort of ready now, I think. Anyway, that's sort of, so that gives you a bit of a feel for what each faction actually does aim for. Okay, so High Heart of Mithril, and then Phenomenix is saying, what I like about the automation system is that you're a particular person in government and you have to live by the whims of your leaders. Yeah, to an extent, depending on the automation that you set up. Ancient Knowledge is a branch of the research tree. Ancient Knowledge is, I think it is actually. I don't know if we have it in ours. We've been stealing research. One of the main ways that we actually have been getting research is to steal it. And I'm pretty sure that Ancient Knowledge is down here somewhere. But we may not have access to it. The tech trees can be a bit unique as well. You can steal tech from other players. I thought we had stolen a little bit of Ancient Knowledge from someone. But yeah, I'm not sort of seeing it there. But I think it is a tech tree. I think. Yeah, there's a lot of tech in through here. So we're just trying to sort of boost things along and get what we need to go and get. You can see there, for example, we've got the flux hardened armor, which is purely from the Boscara. So we've actually got some this is actually a good one for us to have stolen. So we stole that particular tech from the Boscara. We have our own armor through here. This is the interlaced armor. So this we've got other different things in through here as well. Actually, the large hive fighters. It's going to be 11 years before we can get. We're terrible at research. We're very, very dumb. And but the large hive hangers, size 100, 16 fighters. This one here is a medium fighter, which is only size 50 with 8 fighters. So it's basically just like having 2 of those. Really, we do get a higher level bomber and fighter. So we do get sort of like better interceptors. As we sort of go up through this other level. This is one of the other bonuses we have, as you can see with the Gizarian symbol there. So we do ultimately end up having much, much better fighter craft than nearly anybody else. Some of the others also, like the Akdarians, for example, which is another aquatic faction, like the Quamino, will actually end up, they also have very, very good small craft. Anyway, that's the tech tree. I won't worry too much about what we're doing. We're just trying to get enhanced construction here at the moment. As we get closer, I'll then make a decision about what we go for next after this one. So just exit the research. So been doing very well with our research because we've been stealing it and also pulling ships apart to scavenge it. So that's actually why we're sort of fairly well ahead in research. But the Quamino are a researching faction, so they're even further. They're a lot further ahead than us in terms of research. Right. I think what we'll do is, sorry, I've just can finish reading all the comments in through here. It's for the vaults. It will be at the very bottom once you find a vault. Yeah, we don't have that yet. Last row is ancient knowledge. Yeah. So hi Daz. Hi Daz is Tenru. Hi Tenru. So we've got, just going back through the YouTube comments, so hi General Sorrow, hi Steve, yep, there we go, and hi Stardagger Rinsu. See if there's any other questions for me in through there. Yep, so Stardagger saying the early Wednesday morning rituals. Well, for me, it's actually Thursday morning already. Everyone's just saying hi. So Stardagger saying Stellaris is a pale shadow of Distant Worlds 2. Yeah, look, it's horses for courses. Games like Stellaris, Galactic Civilizations, Interstellar Space Genesis are all 4X type games where it's not a simulation game. Distant Worlds 2 stands way out on its own as a simulation game. So I can't think of any other space 4X except for Aurora 4X, which is actually also a simulation style game. So Distant Worlds 2 is very similar to Aurora 4X in that sort of sense, that it's sort of more realistic the way it sort of does actually work. But it's yeah, for me, I just love it. I find it becomes very, very immersive because of it. Kujigrim saying happiness leads to taxation, taxation leads to misery. Yes, pretty much. that is the loop. And so Stardagger is then saying taxation is your admission fee to civilization with government approval. Yes, is Jep Kratz. And hi Sketic, how are you going? So anyway, let's continue on. So the trouble we actually have is these massively powerful fleets are coming in. Let's just unpause the game and just to see how we're going. And incoming fleet. So the third fleet, this is now where we have to start to really manage what's going to happen here. So the third fleet is the one fleet that I'm scared of in a big, big way. And so we're seeing, like what we have is we have a long-range scanner here at the Cardama system. We stole this long-range scanner from the Miletus, and I didn't want to go to war until I had one because that allows me to see what they're doing. So when they come into the range, if I turn the long-range scanners off, you'll sort of see that there's like a glow around certain areas in our area, including around here. So we can see movement as they get closer to our systems, but they jump much faster. We might even just do a bit of a summary as to what our concerns are with their fleets. And so the third fleet, which is this fleet in through here, is now going to be jumping out, and is now, we can see with our long range scanners that they're now on a trajectory towards the Epier system. Now they're most likely going to be trying to attack that one, and we only have our first fleet there. We're not going to be able to get there in time. So it says we should immediately send defensive forces to intercept this threat. All we've got is their first fleet. So we'll have a look and see what we can do, but we're not going to get there in time. So their ships consist of two different classes of ships. You can see there that they've got like these wider ships in through this other side, which are their destroyers, and they also have these ships, which are their frigates. So they're the two different designs. When you're actually evaluating designs, usually the frigate gives you a really good feel for how the faction is going to be playing. So let's have a look at this one first, and you can go to any ship and pull it apart and see what it's actually got and how it's been decked out. Sometimes it won't fill up all of its its weapon bays, and so we can see there that it actually does have like a lot of different weaponry on the ship itself. So it's using just blasters. So it's got a blaster at the front there, a medium blaster. It's got a medium blaster on the port side, and Epsilon torpedo is over this side, I'm guessing. And I'll just zoom back out a little bit. Epsilon torpedo is on the starboard side. So starboard side here has got the torpedoes, 2 blasters in through there, and then it is just using a buckling repeater blaster in the top of what it's actually doing. So it's got reasonable firepower, and each weapon does different things. I won't go through that in too much detail, but that's sort of what they have in terms of their weaponry. They're using proton engines, which will give them speed of 78, which is about the same speed as our ships overall. They've got bubble shields, which are incredible shields. This is like a shield that I would like to steal. The bubble shields are a Quamino only tech, and so I would love to be able to steal this one, or if we can actually crush them in the war, they should give us this technology. So as part of and that's sort of what I want to get to. I want to crush them in the warfare so that we end up where they sue for peace and offer me technology, because that's really what I want. So in this case, where it comes down to different things, you'll see down there about halfway down through the pop-up there, it's got shield penetration chance of 2%. That actually is it means that for every 50 shots that get fired at the ship, one in 50 shots will then go just pass through the shields. Like the shields will fail in 1 in 50, which is not, you can't really rely on that to do much damage. And then that one shot will then go through, and the shield penetration ratio, 30% of the damage coming from that shot will then go through onto the armor, and then and then hit the armor of the ship. So the ship has got like three layers. It's got the shield layer, the armor layer, and then it's got the hull itself with all the componentry on the hull. So once you start to get through the shield and onto the armor, once you get onto the hull, you then start doing damage to components as well. So getting through to the hull is very, very important with the attacks. So with their bubble shields, we have a really difficult time breaking through these ships. You'll also notice at near the top there, it's got component ion defense of 2, but it's also got ion damage defense there of 30. These are great at stopping ion damage. Ion damage or ion weapons disable ships, and so it's very, very hard to disable a Quamino ship. These are incredibly strong with what they end up having. So the ion damage defense is second to none. So the bubble shield is something we have to try to work our way through in terms of our design. The other thing that we end up having, and again, I don't have to design my own ships, but I like doing it. I like looking at these things and thinking, how am I going to overcome that one? They have a short-range sensor array, which doesn't really matter that much. They get a little bit of countermeasures, a little bit of targeting. They've got a target tracking system, so they've got targeting of +20. This is unusual. Normally, they would actually have countermeasures as a defensive measure. So they're going more for firepower, but their firepower is not that great. It's sort of like middle of the road, like with what they actually have on these ships. They have a Jerex hyperdrive in through this other side, and in this case, you can see there the hyperdrive speed of 480k is sort of what's highlighted. This is actually how fast they travel in space. But when we have a look, so we've got the hyperdrive itself is 480, but when we have a look at this one over through here, the hyperjump speed is 570. And so they're getting, you can see there the hyperjump speed in through here has got +19% in through there. These are the bonuses that they have. And that will come from being a Quamino. So the Quaminos can jump faster. So they jump at 570. Their hyperdrive is already a version 2, which gives them the 480. And so they jump at 570. That's actually another big bonus that they end up having. So their big bonuses are the shielding, and the hyperjump speed. That's really what they end up having. So, and that one ship has got a very, very high combat rating because of it, mainly because of its defenses. So for us to be able to then overcome that, and look, if we have a look at the destroyer, we're going to see bubble shields again, extra armor, lots of torpedoes in this case, but similar sorts of weaponry than what they actually have. Again, we're going to be seeing the 570k. Sprint speed is the combat speed. 66 is fairly slow, so they don't move super fast through space, but they just have all that shielding, which makes them very, very hard to attack. So they're coming back out they're going to be attacking into the Shidar system and really going up against probably to try to take out this spaceport here. So if we have a look at our first fleet, this is actually what we have. So we've got some old pirate ships back in through here. I'm not going to worry about showing those, but if we go back into our, this is an assault frigate. So we're in the process of retrofitting our ships at the moment. So this one here is still going in for retrofits. I'll see if I can find one that's already been retrofitted. Under construction, under construction. These are all just sitting in here. So hopefully we don't get caught with all of these actually under construction, which they all pretty much are. So we've got some frigates. Yeah, everything here is under construction, unfortunately, except for the pirate ship. So yeah, everything in through this other side. That's a heavy escort. Escorts are smaller again. This is a frigate. Okay, this one is still retrofitting. See if we've got any that have actually finished. Yeah, so we're sort of, this is actually our ships. So our frigates have got, we've only got very low shields. You can see a 15% shield penetration chance. So we only got one shield on ours. We've got hex armor, which is sort of unique to us. So we're sort of, this one destroyed. We're actually in the process of building this. So we're building different sorts of armor in through here. We have a hyper jump speed of 432, so we're mild slower. We are faster with these ships. This is, I think, the frigate. Yeah, this is a frigate hull. So this is actually sort of like our main attack ship. We do have a small iron cannon, which really isn't going to do much against the Quamino, but it's only a small one. Sentinel beam at the back. We don't have anything facing the front with these ships. We will be though. There are these frigates we're designing up to a new bigger ship with another weapon mount there in the middle, which we're then putting the Sentinel beam back on top there just to give us protection all the way around. But I don't think we're going to be finished with our retrofit by the time that fleet arrives. So we're going to be sort of caught with our pants down here. And then we've got Thuon beams in through here, which are sort of like a more powerful beam than the Maxos blasters, which the Quamino are using. So we do actually have these beams, but nothing much is really going to be affecting what's actually going on there. If I just go and press the number 1 key, which is this one through here, we have these destroyers as well. These are also trying to retrofit. And again, we've got the Thuon beams through here. This is our main weapon that we are using. We also have this deal breaker beam which we stole. And the interesting thing with this one is you'll sort of see that it's got the reason we're using this one is that it does actually have down towards the bottom of the pop-up. It's got a shield bypass there of plus 30%. So when this thing hits, and it's got a firing rate of every 18 seconds, so it's very slow to fire. But 30% of the damage will actually bleed through onto the next area, and then 75% of that will then bleed through the armor. So we end up with when we do use the deal breaker beam, we can actually ultimately break through their shielding to a degree and do some damage on their hull, which is sort of, it's fairly minimal, but it still is important. So this is actually what we're using on these bigger ships. This is our largest ship, these particular destroyers. So again, just the interplay of the different units. So we have to now hope that that's going to be all okay, that we can do the retrofits. Let's just unpause and sort of let things go. So hi Falcons, how are you going? Where are we? So we go in and Pierce is saying a research target might be a good target. Yes, absolutely. Maxos blasters sound bad. They're not too bad. They're still good. Yeah, Valanus is saying blasters in general are kind of OP. They're sort of like the middle of the road of everything. They tend to be good overall. If you haven't got anything to put on, they're a good choice. That's essentially because a lot of the others have weaknesses and positives, and so trying to find the right sort of equipment is quite difficult. So yeah, Valanus is saying they uncover the research base locations. Actually, Valanus is saying Tenru exploration modules. Sorry, I missed another comment there because Falcons is asking me to look up. Oh, sorry. So Tenru is saying, how do you out-research the AI? Colonize like mad? No, colonization will slow you down because it'll slow down your money, etc. So in terms of whoever you're playing, like you either have a natively good researching one like the Quamino, they're probably about as good as you're going to find in the game, or you end up stealing it through your spies. So we've got like spies in through here, for example, and so they're stealing. We've got counterintelligence, trying to catch other spies, stealing galaxy maps. Yes, I've got a few of them stealing galaxy maps of different groups. I'm just leaving them on auto, but I could tell them to go and try to steal technology, but can be difficult to go and do that one. So we're just leaving the spies to their own devices. That's one way to do it. The other way is to win wars and actually have them just give you the tech. The other way for us, we have every time we capture a ship, there's a small chance that we're going to find technology. If we take over a world, we get a free tech. So for us, it's conquest. We get technology through conquest, but every faction is different. So, and it doesn't really. Like, one thing I like about the game is that the changes aren't dramatic. Like, even though, like, for example, they're traveling at like a lot faster in hyperspace than what we are. That's the weakness we have to contend with, but it's not dramatic. It's not like it's double our speed. It just means we're going to be behind them all the time. And so I'm just going to unpause the game and let that one sort of go through. Sorry, I better not until I read all of these. Yeah, Tenor is saying, I find research spots rarer than planets, which contribute to the most of my research. Yeah, that's another point. Actually, I'll just go through all of these different things. With research, you'll see there that the maximum potential research we have is 229. Actual research output is 183, which is low. You do get, if you have research locations, if we go to the actual, where is it? Actually, these are other research stations that we end up having. Spaceports won't really add a lot to your base levels, but then when you find the research centres, these are the ones that actually give you bonuses overall. So we've got 25% high-tech research, but these are applied as bonuses on top of everything else. So getting the research locations are very, very important, with what we sort of end up getting. And so we don't have a hell of a lot. Most of our stuff is just coming from spaceports, which ultimately max out at a certain point, and you don't really get anything else from those, whereas the actual research centres will then extend beyond the maximum. So you end up sort of like, but we're actually only at 183. So we're getting actual research output 183. We get 45 from colony population, 138 from research stations, 50% funding level equals 0 credits available. We don't have any money. If you've got extra money, you could actually then boost that even more. And so the maximum potential we have, so this is really the most we end up sort of getting in through there. So maximum potential is 183 from research stations and 45 from colony population. So we're sort of pretty much maxed out. I can go to like the Miletus, for example, and have another look at them. If I just go and click on them, they should be, down through here, we can sort of see that their research output is 581. So a fair bit more than our 183 or whatever, 138 or whatever we might actually have there. So their research is dramatically higher than ours. If we have a look at some of the others, like the Boscara, they're only 62, so they're only half us. So they're terrible at research as well. So it can wildly change. There's the humans, they're doing 207, so a little bit more than what we are, but not a hell of a lot more. The Artooks will be fairly dumb, but they're also doing 207. The Karamoja is, these are another research faction, but they're only doing 233. The Miletus will be the top. Another one that will do well is the Actarians. They're only 108. They're struggling in their war against the Boscara. And so they're actually really, you can see there, their war weariness is just absolutely terrible. So they've been at war with the Boscara for years and years. And the Boscara, main Boscara faction, the Boscara Legionary, and through here, is tolerable, even though they've been at war forever. These guys really, don't have any trouble. They're also researching very, very well. For a bug faction, these are doing very, very well. So the Dayots we saw there, it said they had 22 colonies, but it says they've only got 11 there. They're also researching very, very well. So yeah, it's interesting. Like every game is different the way it sort of does work. But in our case, we're about where I'd expect to be with what we're doing. So we're playing as the Gizarines. How precise are those research estimates? They're 100% accurate. Yep. So we've got now. If we have a bit of a look again. Sorry, just quick one skimming through, and then we'll turn them off. If you put Alaris on your civilian ships and bases, it's like the lights have been turned on. Yeah, just they're massively big. So we need big ships to be able to do that. Putting them on the civilian ships, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit exploity. Okay, so Gizerian ships are so beautiful, but their cultural issues with killing each other makes them unplayable for me. I really like the Gizerians. Yeah, what race is it against? Says William Thomas. We are playing as the Gizerians, which is a sort of like a minor bug faction. The Boscara are probably the most aggressive one. Anyway, let's just see how we go here. Incoming fleet detected. We'll just watch what actually happens in through this side. We're going to lose sight of them in here, and then we'll pick them up again as they sort of come into this area. So just keep on watching and just hope that our first fleet will sort of continue on with the, you can see they're under construction, 81%, 94%. This is now almost done. Yep, that one's now done. So this one here, for example, has now just become a assault frigate version 7, which is now sort of like picked up the, actually that is, it still doesn't have that thing above. I thought it did. Hang on, let me have a quick look and see what's going on there. We are at maximum there. I'm just going to pause this, and we'll come back to this in just a minute. There's a lot that can go on if you don't pause. If we go back and have a quick look at the, I want to go and have a look at the ship designs. You don't have to design your own ships, but I enjoy it. Just click on roles. Now we do have the heavy frigate, so what we're now doing, if we go back into the heavy frigate design and go and edit, this is weapon 3 here. This is what we actually, this is what we're looking for now, is this particular one. This is size 490. Now I'm concerned that we ended up, that we retrofitted to a, this is the heavy frigate, and we didn't actually retrofit to that one. We retrofitted up to the assault frigate version 7. And I've got 37 of those, which I don't think I like the idea of that, to be honest. So let's go and have a, like, if we're retrofitting up to this particular one, it's going to be fast, so I'm not going to stop it from doing that, but we lose a bit of firepower by this actually happening. So this one here is now just an assault frigate version 7. Now something's happened there where I'm actually getting the wrong ships being retrofitted up. So Fenmore has redeemed a custom reward, unknown ship or scientist, please. The scientists, we got 0. we actually killed the scientists on purpose because they were spies for other factions, and one was really, really bad. So the only one, all I've got really is ships. The first fleet, the one that's going to be fighting, we have got some of these, I think, are the named ships. Just have a look and see. Yeah, Voodoo Dog. So a lot of the frigates have been named. I can give you this big cruiser, this big old pirate cruiser. This one here has got like a lot of exceptional weapons. So I'll give you this one here. So if we go back in, this is a Terrible Doom. So I'll just call this one the Fenmore. All right. So if that ship gets blown up, then Fenmore gets banned for half an hour. You've also got on board Bolan P, the Admiral. So the Admiral will then give bonuses to the whole fleet. So let's have a quick look and see what we've got. So we've got mission complete. Our agent has evaded detection. So we just got the galaxy map of the Miletus. Ending war. So proposing an end to the war with the Miletus aspiration. I'm not ready yet. I think I'm just going to go and decline that one for now. We've got incoming fleets detected again. So the Miletus has been travelling towards the implacable Vindication. If we go and have a look at where that actually is, it's we're showing in through here. So I'm not sure where the 7th actually is. That's the 7th. That's the 6th. That's the 9th. That's the 7th. So the 7th looks like it may be heading back. So it may be, yeah, it's got a long way to go. So it's actually going to also come back down into the Shidar system. So we can sort of dismiss that one for now. And then we have the 9th Strike Force is actually going in towards Kartama 5 Spaceport, which is actually my major centre. This is actually where we've got most of our stuff actually happening in this particular location. So the 9th Strike Force is going to be the first one in, although the 9th is back here. So they're actually a long way off. I think we'll just wait until we actually get attacks coming in. So we'll dismiss that information. An incoming fleet detected. Yeah, the 3rd is the one that's going to be the most dangerous. But I've got to figure out why, and I'll just go through it. What I've done is I've automated my fleets to a certain degree, where this is actually an attack fleet. Like if I go into the first and through this other side, the template that we are using is attack fleet template, and I've got it set to manual control. So the fleet role is manual, which means that I look after it, and then the fleet template is just the attack fleet. It should be retrofitting up to the bigger frigates, not to these smaller frigates. And so if I have a quick look at and see what's going on there, if I go to my military tab, this is where you don't have to do this. I like managing this myself. There's my attack fleets in through there. If I just go and edit this one, so the frigates are going to upgrade to the latest hull for the heavy frigates. So it should ultimately end up there. And similarly, everything else has sort of got its own role as to how things are sort of then being designated. So the destroyers are very particular as to what type of destroyer that they're going to be upgrading to. So either this started its upgrade before we had built these heavy frigates, which may be the case, or that should be the only case really. If we have a quick look at the tactics, there's nothing I can change in here about the upgrades. So they should be upgrading to the new design, but I'm thinking that maybe they were set to retrofit anyway. Let's just have a quick look and see. The second is retrofitting at Cardama 5, and so these are heavy frigates. We're now starting to see the heavy frigates coming through. There's an old frigate. This is a version 7, and it is retrofitting from 7. Okay, so it looks like it's going to version 7, then from 7 to the heavies. So that's fine, as long as we've got some heavies in through here. This one's still under construction. So we are getting our bigger design with that point defence on top. We've got two point defence guns on this one here. So not super powerful, but powerful enough to just help with the fights. So anyway, we continue on. So let's just go and wait and see what actually happens with this attack that's going to be coming in. Just watch with interest. So again, I can't catch up with whatever they're doing. Just wanted to make sure that I'd set up my automation for retrofitting correctly, which I had. Now this is outside of anything we have to worry about. So here they come. So they're already now moving. They're going to be moving quickly, and they're also now moving off as well. So we can, when we hover over these, we can sort of see where all of their ships actually are. So they're sort of all moving up. Very, very powerful fleet, this one here. Discovery. Yep, that's not going to worry us. Oh, here we go. Research breakthrough. When salvaging a power conduit in the Odessa system, we made the following discovery. This is, again, how we make our research. The Gizarians are scavengers. So when there's fights and there's leftover stuff, we do actually have a chance to find things. And so we found a technology that's given us a research breakthrough in improved volcanic colonization. So we can just go and dismiss that one. And new resort base. This will, again, will just give us more money. You can see there that our money situation is not as bad as when we first started. We just now have to wait for these big fights to come in. So we'll just wait for these. We have other ones going off to raid the Cardama system. Cardama should be fine because that's where we've got our main fleet at this stage. The fourth is my invasion fleet, which is also coming back into retrofit. So they're sort of coming into to get ready for the next invasion, which will be back to the Odessa system again. So we'll let all these things happen. But it's an incredible game. Like it's just such an amazing game. But I do want the Odessa system back. I'm a bit worried about only having my my first defence fleet here, or the first fleet. As it just goes through the various retrofits. That one there is already a 7. These are just frigates. These aren't heavy frigates yet. To go from a frigate to just up, to improve what we're sort of seeing through here is actually not it's not going to take very long. So we'll at least be able to fight the fight when they come through. It's just if we retrofit a second time, they'll then retrofit back up to the even bigger one again. We've sort of gone a long time without retrofitting this particular fleet. The second fleet is also back in here as well, and that's also now retrofitting back up. But it is retrofitting to the heavy frigates, as we can sort of see through there. So these are all under construction. So this will be a much, much stronger fleet because of the retrofits. So we're just salvaging different things. We're finding maps. Under attack. Now this is under attack. Let's just go and have a look at this one through here. So we do actually have an assault that went in. It looks like I may have missed that already. Where the hell was that? Under attack over here. Down here. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I think we've probably just gotten away from it, I would guess. It's under attack by the conqueror of my latest destroyer. So this is so there has been a destroyer that's come through. If I just hover at this sort of when I'm just seeing the full system, I then get everything that's in the system itself, and so I can sort of see that these are all the fighting ships we've got. We've got 65 ships here. These are civilian ships. I think they're civilian ships. Yeah, fuel tankers, etc. So we've got like mining ships. Then we actually have freighters, exploration ships back over through there. Small freighters. We're not seeing any in different bases. So this system here, we're not seeing any enemy ships there at all. So we don't, like, you know, even though that came in, it looks like it's just finished straight away. So just let them sort of develop themselves up. The Cardamom system is really a major centre in this region of space. Okay, so Schweinfurt is sort of saying, did it ever happen to anyone to sit on an exclusive Loris fruit location with production cap reached for the planet, and for dozens of years there's no freighters to transport this somewhere? Yes. The reason that happens, by the way, where things will sort of go and sit. There we go, I've got a reactor core in through there. And so we've found technology that's given us a research breakthrough in light bombers. We haven't got light bombers, but it's just given us a bit of a boost. So when we find these sorts of things, again, we have more chance of getting this than anybody else because we scavenge. But if you have a look at the light bombers, there'll be... actually, we've got light bombers in through there as well. So we did find light bombers there. Actually, looks like we did actually pick that one up. Yeah, it's not as good as ours. So we picked up stuff that we don't really need. Like we've already got our own anyway. The light bombers we have will be basically the same as these, I would guess. That's what they end up sort of having. So we've sort of got to the light bombers that we have are the same light bombers that are in through here, but we just have a better one in through that side. Improved orbital defences, that would be good. Actually, a high fighter base Mark II, 36 fighters. It's actually not bad. 15 years though, it becomes quite expensive. Anyway, so, but yeah, the reason, sorry, for things like Loris fruit and stuff, which don't, and I don't think I've got any of the specials. If I go into the resources and just have a quick look down at at all of resources, if I just go back into, say, luxury resources, and we just have a look, Caribbean spice. I don't know any sources of Caribbean spice. Zentabia fluid, there are 2 sources. Where are they? These are sort of like the ones that are really, really hard to get. It's a bit hard to tell if that's actually Zentabia fluid or not. Oh, there's one over there. So that's not too far away from our territory. But in this case, yeah, that's already been controlled by another faction. So there's this particular world. We'll have it's got an outpost on it. So the Icarus are on this volcanic world, mining the Caribbean spice. We're not seeing exactly how much there actually is there, but they'll be sort of mining away. There won't be that many freighters that will come there because ultimately what happens is the the worlds dictate what the freighters will do. And so if we go to, for example, the Afar, I just have a look and see Loris fruit. Yeah, we don't have any sources here that we've discovered yet either. So just go back to the fuel and construction, just go back to the defaults. This is the flow of resources. Again, it's important, but you don't really need to know about it unless you find like a choke point resource that you really need badly, and there's only limited resources, and some of them you'll sort of find will be in that category, like often polymers and carbonites can be, but we've found a lot of resources in through here, so we don't need to really worry about those so much. But we can starve enemies with the resources. But if we have a look at the Afar system, there will be a need for certain things, and the reason that you probably don't have Caribbean spice on your worlds, and you can impact this by just going into the actual world itself and going into resource shortages in through here, and then just having a quick look through, and it'll then once you get down to your luxuries. So we don't have any Caribbean spice in here at all. And that's so we've got show all resources, but it's not showing enough. Hide unused resources is now what's being done through there. I'll just keep it on all, but we don't actually have, because we don't actually have a source. But if you may find that you've got a source in through here, and it will then ask for a number, like how much it actually wants. When it's red, it means it hasn't got enough of what it's actually asking for. And so sometimes it'll have stuff it just doesn't need. And so quite often you'll find that it's actually either got what it wants or won't really be focusing on it. And you can just change that one manually if you need to. I think that'd be the only real way around that. Or if it's just way too far. Like for me, if I actually had like a source of it over here somewhere, it would be too far for me to load it back into the home world. And it would generally go to the home world first. Anyway, we'll continue on. So let's keep on going with this one, and just wait for this. We've now lost sight of the fleets. They're now on their way through. We just get an unpleasant surprise when they sort of suddenly appear out of nowhere, and I think that that this first defence force is going to be sort of struggling here a little bit. We have to figure out when it's time to jump away. System maps recovered. Now the first is still, it's got no mission now, so these have now all been retrofitted up. I can tell it to retrofit, but now I'm worried about retrofitting again, right when these fleets are going to be arriving. So it looks like the retrofits, the basic retrofits, have all been done, and so we just have normal size frigates all the way through. God, do I do it? I think it's going to take too long. Let's have a look at the second fleet. Is still retrofitting, and this will take again a long time to get these up to the heavy frigate status. So we've still got a lot of frigates. So this is a big system that we actually have through here. I think I'll just leave it. The 8th is also down there as well, which has got no mission, but also does need to retrofit up. So there's a lot of work needs to be done in the Cardama system. I think I'm just going to sit here until we do this next fight, and we'll then sort of figure out the way through. We can see there's a lot of ships travelling in through this other side, most likely just going to be freighters. Okay, they're now offering to end the war. It's where we have to really consider this. Now, this is what they're starting to now give us. They're giving us research projects, which is exactly what I want. They're going to give me battlefield sabotage, monitoring stations, and starfighters. Starfighters I don't really need, but that for me, it allows me to then go and retrofit all my fleets again before the next fight. I would have liked to have taken the Odessa system back, but the fact that they're giving me all this research is actually a good thing. So so Varkor is saying all research is good research. Well, any research for us is good research. So that gives me, monitoring stations is really, really good. That doubles the range of your long-range scanners. So that's something that I really would like to get as well. So I definitely want to get those. Battlefield sabotage is also great for when you start to like if you bring a couple of saboteurs, essentially, they make it easier to land your troops, which is going to be important if we go after the Citadel system. I do want to get the Odessa system back, but it's not a major. It's only got like 195 million people on that, like these guys on that particular world. I can grab that at any time. Ultimately, so I'm thinking I'm going to accept this because starfighters I don't need. I'll show you what I mean. If I accept the treaty, so we now get all of these things. So we get the battlefield sabotage. So this project provides the following advances: special operations barracks, so we can then go and build special operations forces. We get the monitoring stations, which is something that I was considering researching anyway, to be honest. I was actually wanting to get that one, because monitoring stations will allow me to build in sort of out-of-the-way locations. And again, we want to be really looking at seeing like deep. We can't build inside their territory, but when the next war starts, I'll be able to then go into one of these sort of out-of-the-way places and build a long-range scanner in here, like where there's no real presence, and just have it sit there and just monitor everything. So a monitoring station here would be ideal. So that's really, really cool. And then we actually have the starfighters. So this one gives us the small starfighter bay, basic fighters, basic bombers. This is something we don't get access to playing as the Gizarians, and the reason for that is we have better stuff than that. So that's not really all that important to me. If we just come back down to, so here's the battlefield sabotage. So this one cost me 20,000 to get a special operations barracks, and then we get the special forces, where it does actually have sort of like fairly good attack. It has 100 sabotage. So it's actually it's a good one for us to go and get hold of. So I do want to build that one in select locations. I could have held out for even more. They've got a lot of other tech. We didn't get the bubble shields, which I would have liked to have gotten. As we come back through, the starfighters back through here. So that's actually all we ended up getting, which is worse than anything we've got. So that one really just wasn't important. So we've just picked up that one now, which again not important for us. So really this is our racial area, which we want to sort of keep on going. So that's actually all good. We now have the monitoring stations, which is great. That is actually a big thing. You can see their scanner range is plus 100% there for the monitoring station. So getting those established in certain locations will be important. It's not something that sometimes you have to be a bit careful that the AI can build too many of those, but we should be okay there, I think. Okay, so we'll exit the research. So the war is now over for now. In this case, I can now go to the first and tell them to go and retrofit at Epire. So I'm just going to tell them to go and retrofit to the next big area. The 8th as well is also set to manual. I'm going to tell it to also retrofit. This is going back to Martiga 5, which is way over here. So I'm just going to let them sort of go into their own locations now and just retrofit those two big fleets. So we'll just unpause the game and let things sort of develop along. Now, our war readiness is still at -4, but that will now start to come back up. If we have a quick look at the diplomacy in through here, the Miletus, are they still at war? No, there's no more wars anywhere for them. So their war weariness will also start to come back. You can see it's -16 now, it's -3. Mining station completed. This is okay. And we'll just keep things sort of thumping along. So the 8th is going back. We have the 4th, which is in the middle of its own retrofit. So they're retrofitting up. We are trying to build troops here, but I've got to be careful with my money. I'm not going to accept these protection offers. Okay, so they've attempted to steal research on crystal sensors, which we had stolen in turn. Now, technology is where we are technologically wise. It's actually not terrible. Getting that world in, for that world there. We'll take this world back next anyway. There's another big Gizarian world there as well, which we can go and grab. You can see they've got like a lot of Gizarians that they've been using to settle other worlds. So ultimately, when we go to war again, we should be hopefully able to push a bit harder next time. but the quality of our ships is really crappy. Actually, one thing I did mean to do is to have a look at the ships not in a fleet. Because we have this banished action, which is actually going back into repair. And so this is repairing at Epia, back in through here. And what I wanted to do is I actually want to retire at Epia. I want to actually pull this one apart to try to get technology from it. So this is a destroyer of the enemy. So we actually picked up one of these Nun-Cross with the bubble shields. So we've actually got one of these guys. Now I could use this in with my fleets if I wanted to. I don't think we've got any tech at all that we've done with the. If we have a quick look at the what am I looking for here? The enhanced construction. I don't think we've even seen bubble shields. Yeah, that's engines. And that's weaponry. So where's the shielding? Yeah, we haven't even come across bubble shields really. So we're not going to really make anything from it. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to add that one to my first fleet. So the and it may be ultimately that that destroyer ends up becoming just one of our destroyers. I don't know if it will, because it certainly is a better ship than what we've sort of seen before. So I'm just hoping it's going back in for repairs. But let's just go and join the banished action to our first defence force. That will then sort of boost our attack. Like the first defence force is now up to 3,000 strength, actually, with that one in there. Anyway, it'll just do what it's going to do. Just leave it there for a little while. Yeah, so their warriness is because they were also at war with these guys, the Karamojas, which you can see that they're sharing different locations. They'll be at war again soonish, I would guess. And then what we do is let them go to war for about a year, and then we attack again. So we'll just sort of wait for things to happen. We can't attack immediately. This is good. Our war weariness is now gone completely, and our money is now sort of sorting itself out. So we're starting to now make money. The Cardama system, one thing I love about this game is that you end up with these locations which, this is such an important, forward base for us, the Cardama system. And so we've got like multiple fleets in here just, going into the spaceport to retrofit up. Like we've got the 7th Strike Force as well, which is in the process of retrofitting here at Cardama. And so this little outpost, which doesn't have any Gizarians on it, it's only got Nexilians, but they're sort of working away, and we've actually been building a massive army here of these war swarms and things. So it could actually, they've got armor barracks, we've got all sorts of stuff we can build at this location. Here we go. Every so often we end up with one of the, this is, who's actually not in the, what I'm going to do here is, because Bolan P and von Schweinhund, which are both named characters, both now, this is something that the Gizarians do every so often. Power struggle has occurred between two of our characters, Bolan P and von Schweinhund. The rivalry has spun out of control, and we're now forced to choose between the two. Must select a winner in this power struggle. The winner will gain an extra skill and positive trait. The loser will be dismissed. Now, I know that von Schweinhund is watching, so von Schweinhund, if your stats are lower than Bolan P, you may be banned. So it's going to come down to who's got the best stats at this point in time. I'm sorry, von Schweinhund, but I from what I can remember, I think Bolan P is a little bit better. So I need to choose who's going to be the winner here, and the other one will then be killed. So we'll have a quick, this is one of the dangers, of course, playing DasTactic with characters in the Gizarian run. It only happens with Gizarians, by the way. So if we just go back into characters, and we'll have a quick look at the main characters. So Boland is an admiral, and von Schweinhund is an admiral. So these are two competing admirals. So Boland is already at the first defence force, and von Schweinhund is here at Cardama with the 8th fleet. In fact, the 8th fleet is now moving off. So we can see through here, von Schweinhund has armor strength +7, scan focusing +5, targeting +16, which is very, very good, and that's getting better. Hyperjump speed is -2 from poor navigator. Yeah, everything else is sort of fairly positive. That's actually not bad. It's better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, is Boland P better? Let's have a look. Doesn't look like it, does it? In this case, skilled navigator, good tactician, strongest space attacker. So we end up with military ship saving 7%, energy. I wish we didn't have to do this, but I'm thinking you're safe. Targeting plus 13. You had targeting plus 16. There we are. There we are. So we've got Boland P. I don't think ship manoeuvring is 13. Ship manoeuvring is 13 there again. So they're even on that score. The others don't really matter that much. Ship speed is identical. Weapons damage increase plus 8. Weapons in there. So they're identical all the way through there. Even the maintenance savings, ship maintenance and savings is 8 there, only 7 for Boland P. So you survive, von Schweinhund. You're saying, humph, I got more numbers. Never retreat, no need for evasive hyperspeed. Do you get banned in chat when your character dies? Yes, you do. So I will check for Boland P. I don't think Boland P is watching it today. Anyway, so who will win the struggle? Von Schweinhund will win the struggle just based on what we see through here. What will happen is when we do this one, he'll then get another, like strong, he's already had one attack before. So strong space attacker is one that he did pick up. If I go and do this one again, he'll then get another big boost. And so ultimately these become really, really powerful admirals. So bang, in they go. So I'll just pause that again. And so the admiral killed. So the Admiral Boland P has died at Fenmore. Fenmore was that ship that we just that big cruiser, the big pirate cruiser. So if we go across to it, there's the pirate cruiser there. No more admiral on this particular ship. I think I'm going to have to transfer one of the other admirals across to the first fleet. So I'll have a look to see how we're going. But let's have a look at von Schweinhund now. And so we now have local defence tactics. And so we'll get even more, like countermeasures has now gone up. So we're getting that one through there. I didn't see that one before. May have been there, but it's just only noticing that one now. Ship speed has gone up to 12. So local, here we go. The local defence tactics, 10% to targeting and countermeasures when fleet is near a colony or base of your empire. That means we can be defensive, plus 10% targeting, plus 10% countermeasures. So that's actually really, really good. That's a good one here for the countermeasures and the targeting. So ultimately, yeah, the targeting's gone up to 26. This means that our firepower here is unbelievably good. The first fleet is really the one with all the named characters, so I'm going to transfer von Schweinhund across. We also have the second fleet with Sev. Sev has also got goods. He's a drunk, but everything else is good. So again, he would have lost if we had to choose between the two. But in this case, von Schweinhund will be transferred out from the Black Marauder in the 8th Fleet across to the 1st Defence Force. And so we'll transfer to the new location. He's going to get there in 28/14/05, so a year and a bit. So he'll transfer across to the new location. And so he'll move into the flagship of that fleet, which should be this pirate cruiser. If I just press the first fleet, and we can see there, where is it? It should show us who the flagship actually is. I thought it showed it up in here actually, but maybe it doesn't. If I go to the Fenmore, if I just do a long right click, yeah, we can't change this one to the flagship, but if I go to one of the other ships, like this one here, for example, and do a long right click, I can set this one as the lead ship. But that's not what we want to do. We want to keep this one, this cruiser, as the. It's funny, the scale of the Gizarian ships looks way out. They always look way bigger than what they should be. So anyway, so he's now died at Fenmore, and then von Schweinhund will come in and take his role in the first fleet. Accept trade. Look, I'll accept. They don't give us much. So Carlos, if we, not that it really matters that much. And then we've got the Discovery. So just this scenery is good for tourism. All right, so that's what's happened there. We're seeing, again, big fleets of ships sort of coming through the long-range scanners. This is why we do want to get like it may be that the Praxel system in through here would be a good one for us to put a monitoring station on. In fact, yeah, as we get more and more of these, it's pushing the border out as the cardamom system becomes more powerful. Okay, so this is the Boskarans have taken over something. Agent captured. So our agent Shindu Livax has been captured while preparing to steal the galaxy map of the Payon feudal dominion. The exposure of this mission will have diplomatic consequences. They've imprisoned him. I think I want him back. So I'm going to probably talk with them and see if I can actually buy him back. Now these guys here are offering us military refueling. I'm going to accept that treaty. It doesn't cost us anything, and then it allows us to refuel. We've got friendly pirates in here, and we've sort of just been sort of cultivating that particular friendship. All right, so now the Payons. Okay, these are the Harkonish. Yeah, so their reputation is notorious. They're actually got bad war weariness. Let's go and speak with them. Negotiate a deal. It's 107,000 to get him back, which is all of our money basically. And then they still may not even accept that. Give them a galaxy map. They want, like, I can give them tech as well. You can see how much that battlefield sabotage is worth. You can see this is actually all the stuff that they don't have. We don't want to give them our own tech in through here. So the hive fighters are stuff that we definitely don't want to give them those. Orbital hive defense, we don't want to give them those either. So it would be, yeah, we've got a lot of monitoring stations. It's funny, monitoring stations only 29,000. I thought that would be worth a lot more than that one. Planetary governance is worth a hell of a lot. Light bombers is just, I mean, it does give them medium starfighter bays. So maybe not. Target tracking. Don't really want to give them that either. Yeah, that's Iron Shields, 58,000. Actually, what's he like? Can't remember what he was like, but he's obviously worth a lot. Let's give them that, and then we'll start to just raise the money and just see what they will then go and do. Rest of those. Let's just go and throw these different locations in because they don't really matter that much. Up to 86,000 now in offer, but they don't like us, so it's going to be harder for us to get what we want. Yeah, they'll accept. They may accept this deal, worth 146,000. I want the spies back because this is really our main way of getting technology as well. So I'm just going to go and what do you think of this deal? Not lucrative enough, no deal. So we'll just keep on boosting it up a little bit. There we are. They're now likely at worth 150,000. There we go. So we get our spy back. Let's just see if he's been corrupted. Hope he was worth it. Yeah, see how counter espionage is high. Espionage is high as well. So I'll just leave him on auto again. But there's no traits that he's taken, no negative traits from being caught. We got him back. It's worth it in this case just to get, like, you know, he's pretty much. They're all pretty good actually. I mean, he is our best spy, so we definitely don't want to be losing him. So trade deal. There we go. We did have to give them a lot just to get him back. So hopefully he will keep on doing his job. Now we're seeing other. This is a defense force now moving back into the DASA system. And if I can just push back a little bit further out here, the Praxis system is actually not too bad to build a monitoring station. Just got a rocky silicon moon there. What else do we have over this side? They've got a mining base there as well. So I can't really build a monitoring station there. Now it wants us to go and declare war against the Payon feudal dominion, the same guys that had just taken taking that one through there. I'm going to decline at this stage. So there's a spy if there's one available. Yeah, I've got the spies available, so I'll give you that last guy actually, so you can have that one. Foreign mission thwarted. By the way, if the spies do get captured, you get banned basically just by being captured. So just be aware, Operative Light, that you may be banned. So foreign mission thwarted. So we've actually we did actually stop another one coming through. This is where the countermeasures are important. So we'll just go back in, and we've got a fair few prisoners that we've now caught as well. But we'll just go back to our spies. So I'll give you Sindhu Livax. So this will be Operative Light. There we are. So that's that particular spy. He's now going back to try to steal the galaxy map of the Peons again. So I've just got them on auto at this point in time. Ultimately, I want them to really be looking at going after tech, but I'm not going to micromanage them. I'll just let the AI do all that for me. So the Peons are... Where are the Peons? I think they're over here somewhere. Yeah, the Peon Feudal Dominion. There's another one there. They've actually had a civil war by the looks of things. Now that's actually... would that be useful to us? Their warness is critical as well. I'll just talk a little bit about what's going on there as well. It's also suggesting that we declare war against the Alara Eden Retreat, which are the group that's up in through here. So that's also something that we could go and do if we have a quick look and see what they've got. They don't have any war weariness. They've only got two colonies that we're aware of. It's sort of like the next logical extension for us, but it's a long, long way away from where I'm wanting to focus, which is down in here. But this actually sort of isn't really, the Feudal Dominion. So I'm going to decline that one. Accept treaty, no, decline. I've got it like a house rule that if they're Gizarians and we're playing as Gizarians, I'll sort of try to befriend them, but otherwise I won't. Discoveries, again, just any scenery bonuses. So with this one in through here, we've got, if we ultimately ended up taking their systems, now this is actually, the Teekans look like they're actually at war with them. So if you have a look at the Peon Feudal Dominion, we can see a lot of what's going on with them. One thing we'll notice is that we've got the Harkonish Baronial Union back in through here, which is just a single planet. They're both Harkonish in through this other side, and it looks like they've had a civil war, and that they've actually now split off in the civil war. So when we have a look at these guys, these are a feudalism group, and this is very hard to play as because feudal societies will split off. And so what they end up having is, if we have a look at the Galactopedia, it's sort of interesting to see this. It's actually quite a hard government type to play. If we go back into governments, go into feudalism. So feudalism governments are on a set of reciprocal legal and military obligations. So they end up with like population growth goes up, war weariness, they're very good at staying in wars, diplomacy is down, all research is down. It's not as bad as us, but it's still down a little bit. But what they have is the special features of what actually happens is that they have things like defending militia troops are much stronger than usual, so they actually have an upgraded militia to defend their worlds. The feudal obligation, they double troop recruitment rate for 2 years after a war starts. So if we did start a war with them, they would then get a boost to their troop recruitment. Privateer Navy, so they end up with these sort of like private ships that run around patrolling their area. It's just quite interesting. But the big thing is this one here. Every 20 years, the leader changes through a coup d'etat. And what actually happens with the coup d'etat is that it becomes extremely disruptive. And so the happiness on every single one of their planets then goes down by -20. So several months of reduced colony happiness and increased war weariness, possibly of colony rebellions, and even another leader change. So everything goes to crap, really, when they actually have a coup d'etat. So every 20 years they do this. We've been playing now for quite some period of time, like probably 50 years. So they've had a couple of these coup d'etats already, and it's highly disruptive. And so this is the worst change of government that you can actually go and get. out of any of the government types. And then you've got, and the leaders are just replaced from a new character. And so essentially they like when they're playing as a feudal society, it's really, really bad. If we go back to the baronial union, they're also a feudalist as well, so they've got the same sort of deal in through there. And if we have a look at all of them, we're not going to find anything, even like monarchies, if they have like every 60 years, it's a bit disruptive. They have -7. What else would there be out of these that would actually sort of do it? Cell hegemony. We have a -5 every 30 years. We have a change of leadership, but we're sort of used to it. Democracy changes years. They have a boost every 8 years with an election, so a new character then takes over. Yes, it's all very different. But for feudal societies, you'll often find that their forces, like their planets will fragment off and sort of create like their own societies, which means you have to then go back and get them again. It is a hard one. Republic should be mild boost there with an election. Technocracy will be done through, this is -10 every 80 years by direct appointment. And so this is actually where they have scientists and things that are coming back through. So these are all the different government types. There's things like, Zombie Hive, for example, which is not really playable. But it's really, really cool, just all the different things you can then go and do. So depending on what government type you then go and choose, you can end up with quite a large empire playing as a feudal society, but then have it all fragment off, very, very quickly. So they possibly will be trying to take this particular world, I would guess. So it's a fairly big world. It looks like it was a sister world of this one through here. If we have a look and see what's going on through this other side, 6.5 billion is living on this forest planet. They do actually have their own armour barracks and administration centre. We don't know what sort of troops are there, but so they're actually so they're just sort of sitting around. But this is actually where the game is suggesting that we go and attack them. But that's a long, long way away for us to go and do that one. So I'm not going to worry about it. And there are the Teekans in the middle there as well. So let's just let the game continue on. But it's really cool, again, just the way it does actually work. So Operative is saying, I know the danger, sir. There we are. Let's just move that one off. Might just turn off the long-range scanners just for a little while, just so we can sort of see see everything that's happening. We're also getting to a stage of the game where the actual movement of civilian ships is starting to now become fairly invasive in terms of the visuals on the actual map itself. Once you get to this sort of stage, you may decide to turn them off just visually. And so I always forget exactly where to do this. I don't think it's down in here. Resource flow, migration flow, tourism flow, nebulas. That's the combat overlays. I've always got to find it. I think it's under the in the settings, like in the game menu. I think that we do it in here. Yeah. So this is show fleets. Yes. So all we do is we just go down to show civilian ships. I'll just go no, and just go and apply. And that should really clean up what we're seeing through here. So we're no longer seeing the little circles. So because we don't control the civilian ships, but this will then just sort of show us the major movement of important ships as they're sort of coming back through. So we're going to miss a lot of information of things that do sort of bounce around. We've got unknowns, but we sort of now know that these are going to be not just civilian ships. New admiral appears. There we go. Got a new one there, so we'll just go and leave that one there. Nitra 3, Boscara Legion. So these guys are really pushing hard in here. So the Boscara are doing in fact, they've taken one of the core worlds now. So this world here has just fallen. An Ultra 3. It's now under the control of the Boscara Legionary. So the Actarians are now on their last leg. They do have a little world over here that they've captured from the Boscara. But they're now really going to be struggling now that they've lost this. It may do a culture flip and decide to go back and join. There goes the 8th for retrofits. So they've just got the 7th Defence Force down that way. Still getting Empire happiness of -5, unfortunately, from that last attack, which again impacts our money. So accept trade, decline, and discovery. Oh, okay, so where is that? If we sort of hover back out, way over there, it's too far away for us to worry about. So we can't access that. This is the extent of our territories in through here. Now that's the Acdarians. What are they? No, sorry, that is the Miletus. So they're moving off. They're moving another fleet down. Retrofit at the Citadel 1 spaceport. So they're heading back there by the looks of things. Our first fleet is still doing its retrofit, so it takes a long time to get these up to the heavy frigates. Okay, that's good. We'll just keep these coming through. Yeah, to get a long-range scanner, I'm tempted. Oh, here we go. We've got another war started. So this is the Karamoja, which are this particular group over here. Now we do actually have an ambassador here, so we can see what's happening at their home world. This is going to be a much easier war for us. Now the Karamoja, if I just go and dismiss that and then pause again. So this is them down this way. They've been at war with the Miletus as well for a long period of time. If we have a quick look and see what they're up to. So their war weariness is possibly, sort of corrected for those. Yeah, they've got no war weariness back in through there. The fact that they declared war on us is now a big bonus to us as well. So we have to now look and see what they've got that we want, and sort of where we are with things. So this is they don't like us, and it's getting worse and worse. So they are a monarchy. So this is the Karamoja Royal Dominion. The Wekaris, you can sort of see if we hover over through here. These are a researching, sort of medium level research faction, and they, so them being a monarchy is they can be a full blown technocracy if they wanted to, but they are very, very clever. In this case, we're not going to have to really worry too much about what they do, to be honest. They don't really. These are really good fun to play. This is one of the new factions in the DLCs that you can then go and grab. But they've actually got this little world in through here. Let's have a bit of a look and see what we've got. If we just go and close that one again. They've got a billion there, which is actually Harkonish. So there's a Harkonish world here, this was an independent world at one point. So they've got the spaceport there. They've got some Wekaris there. So they've only got 40 million, but most of them are just going to be Harkonish. We could go for that one. It's not really what I want, that particular world. Do they have anything in here? No, this has been taken over. This used to be one of theirs, I think. So we can't deal with anything, and then we're really just dealing with their home worlds. Now we do actually have some Gizarians here, which we could take over. So the Sejanus system would be a little bit too far away. Like already, this one is a very, very far away location. They've got the Epsius mining station in through this other side as well, which is not actually a location. It's the circles that are the actual location. So they've got they've only got 3 systems that we're aware of anyway. So there's a couple of Gizarian worlds there, not great. And then they've got their actual home world back in here in the Karamoja system. They've got 2 worlds in here which are fairly large. So they've got this world here, which is a forest planet, which has got armor barracks and a planetary beam defense. So it can sort of do a lot of damage from the planet itself. So that's a forest world, and then back over here be an oceanic world, deep ocean world in through here. And we can sort of see a little bit more about the actual what they've got, because we have our ambassador on this world. So we actually had one of the ambassadors here, wherever he is. There he is. So this is So he's actually he helps with espionage on this world. So he does that, but he also reports on what he can see, and so we can see through here that there's actually like a fair few defender brigades on the actual world itself. Their defense strength is 155. Overall defense strength is high, which you expect for a home world, and so they've got the local population as well as the defending troops. No armour, which is unusual. So I'm assuming we're going to see a fleet come from their side of things at some point. But now we haven't planned for how we defend against their ships. And their ships are fairly unusual as well. So we'll just go and have a bit of a look and see what they've got. And so this is their overall fleet. Now they've got an Actarian ship there. This is a heavy cruiser. The Grand Devastation. The fact that it's a heavy cruiser makes me I think this one may have been like from a graveyard or something that they've actually resurrected, because this is an Actarian ship. This is not a Wekaris ship. Wekaris ships look like this, and so that's a bit of an outlier. It's very, very strong. It's got heaps of stuff on it, but it's sort of one of these things where this is not typical of what we're going to sort of find with them. So I don't think we have to worry about that particular ship. Then they've just got, this is destroyers. In fact, if I just go back out to the actual fleet itself, First Defence Force. So, yeah, their strength, again, is very, very high. So their quality is high. Got frigates and destroyers. So look at their frigates to start with. So they use the pulse wave cannon. This is actually their own racial technology, which is actually very, very strong. This is a great weapon, actually. So it does... it's got an armor bypass there of plus 50%, so it does a lot of damage once the shields are down. It's long range as well. These are great weapons. So they do a fair bit of damage there as well. But they don't. You can see their frigates don't have a real lot of weaponry, but the thing that they have is speed. So their hyperspeed is just slightly more than ours, only a little bit, and the sprint speed is double ours. So it's very, very fast ships. So that's actually their main way of engaging. They've got Talassos shields, which are a little bit better than our shielding. Nothing like what we saw there with the others, and just heavy armour. So our frigates, I'm happy with our frigates against theirs. I think that's sort of fairly even. So have another quick look at the at that fleet again. Again, if you've already selected something, just use the back arrow, and you'll end up sort of going back through the various selections that you've got. Let's just go into one of the, sorry, that is the frigate. Go back to one of the destroyers. So the destroyers have got pulse wave cannons again, and that's all they're using. It's just large pulse wave cannons, which is again going to do damage against armor once our shielding is down. So shielding is going to be relatively important for us, but it's unfortunately we don't have great shielding, so we can't do much with that one. But again, it's mainly going to be their speed. Like they're just incredibly fast with their sprint speed. So that's really all we can expect to see. The fact that we're not seeing very many troops makes me think that they possibly have an invasion fleet somewhere in space. I might just turn it back on my long-range scanners, and I might think about what we, if we want to go and try to put another long-range scanner somewhere else. So the Amitat system would be okay-ish. We wouldn't get much more. We'd get out to here. Keep on thinking. I want to go further out. I think I'll just leave it where we are. Let's wait until we see what comes in. Accept war mission. So now what we end up having, when you've got a war, you end up with these different things you can then go and start to do. So accept war missions, suggestion. So in this case, our military strategists has analysed the situation of our war against the Karamoja Royal Dominion, looking for tasks that have maximum impact against our enemy. The following suggestion: we've identified a valuable enemy facility of the Karamoja Royal Dominion. You should destroy their defensive caverns at Heturk. So where is Heturk? If we just sort of move out and have a bit of a look, it's back at their home world. Not going to happen. It's going to be too hard for me to do that. So that's actually not something that I want to accept as a war mission. So if we successfully do these missions, our war score goes up, the Empire happiness goes up, and then their war weariness goes down. So I'm going to decline that one. In a month or so, it will then offer me a new one. So I want something that's achievable. I don't know if that's theirs. It may be a different colour. I think it's the Artuks. looks slightly different. But Shidar is very close to their territory. So we'll just play defensively for a little while. We'll just keep on sort of trying to stop these other spies coming in. So we're now just reliant on our long-range scanners to pick up movement. The Sejanus system is not terrible, but it's just sort of out of the way. Okay, so now what we have is we actually have a the seventh strike force is actually a raiding force. So send the 7th strike force to prepare an attack the Kaf Malaja 1 mining station of the Karamoja Royal Dominion back into here. So they've actually got an outpost way out over here. In fact, this is now interesting. They've actually now they've settled into here using Gizarians to go and take a little world. But they do actually have some stations that have been built down this other side. So we've got the 7th, which is sitting in, where is the 7th? There. And so this is its range of operation, where it will go and strike military targets in through here. And this one's been set as a raider, and so it's got the raiding force template. In this case, I'm just going to say, yep, go and do it. So we'll just go and assign the mission. Now, this is going to go and attack and destroy it. I'm almost tempted. We do have a bit of a boarding. No, we probably don't have enough really there to worry about it. So let's just go and do this one here. Just go and assign the mission. So they're going to go off and do that mission. So this was like a smallish fleet that we had here for raiding. And the Karela have declared war on the Artuks. Not sure where the Karelia is. They may be further over here in areas that we haven't seen yet. So now just wait. The 8th Fleet is still retrofitting. Now their home base is Espioxo, which is back over here, which we've now lost. So I'm going to set their home base to Cardama 5. Go to the spaceport. I'm going to put that one back onto defend role. So the fleets we actually have through here, we've got the that's the 7th now moving off. We've got the 8th, which is moving in. So they're still retrofitting back at Martiga, and then they'll move back to the Cardama system automatically. So let's just set everything back to auto that we need to. The 2nd is already set to defend this area. So they're already done all their retrofits. The what have we got through there? That's the 4th Invasion Fleet, which has also now got no mission. But this one we do actually have. Where are you? It's got no mission there, but where is it? It's on the other side there. I'm just going to tell it to go and repair it at this world. This is a fair way away from where we are. Not that we need to do anything just yet. We've got everything sort of set up where we need it to be. The first, I'm going to tell them to that they're going to be also on defensive positioning around this world. And it's still doing its retrofits. You can see how long it does take to get these guys up to be heavy frigates. Yeah, still got one more frigate there, another one there. So these 2 frigates here have to be retrofitted up as well. So we'll leave that one where that is. Just wait for something to happen. They've destroyed one of our ships somewhere. I'm not sure where. Not sure how they did that. I didn't see any message come up. It's construction. I've got a bit of money. I'm just going to go and rush this one now. Pay the costs. That way we don't have any sort of failures with what we're doing. Got to think about what we actually pick up next, actually. So multi-role starships would then give me the light cruiser, which I don't have cruisers yet. Targeting. A lot of these now are going to be a bit too expensive for me. You've got the improved volcanic, which is interesting. I would love to get this, but we're just too dumb to be able to research that one thoroughly. Recreation is going to improve our happiness. Recreation Centre, version 2. It's only 6 and a bit years to get that one, which would be a good one. So we end up with the recreation rating of 150 as opposed to 125. Structured research. This is for the Science Academy. Actually, that does improve our chance to get scientists, and all research goes up as well. So 11 years, I think I might get that because it's one thing that we sort of really do struggle with. Let's pay the costs on that one. So we get that one coming second, which is going to take a long time. But we're sort of fairly strong in where we actually are in the game. So things aren't pushing back too much. Steve was saying combat overlay will clean up the screen also. Yeah, I think that's yeah, that sort of just focuses on the actual ships themselves. It does actually change what you sort of see, which is fairly good if you're just focusing on your military ships. I don't mind having all of the other ships sort of showing, like, you know, I don't mind them sort of being around the place, but anyway, it is what it is. Going in for their attack. Oh, declared my elitists have declared war on the Actarians. That's interesting. So the Actarians are really struggling. Like really struggling. It's tempting to get this because ultimately we're going to get this as well. It needs to give me a whole pocket in here, but then I've got to defend it all. Here we go, here we go. So we actually now see the incoming fleet detected. The 11th invasion fleet has been detected travelling on an attack vector towards Epure. So we can now see our long-range scanners have now picked these up coming through. This is where the long-range scanners are ideal. So we've actually got 3 fleets coming in. So we've got 2 invasion fleets plus another fleet there as well. So if I just go back and hover on these, we've got the 5th Strike Force, which has only got like 3 ships in it. It does have this heavy frigate. I think that they've got a lot of their ships back from a graveyard somewhere, an old Actarian graveyard. So they've got the two other frigates coming through there. Don't have to worry about them so much. The 8th Invasion Force has only got 2 infantry and 4 armour, so they're not really enough to take this world. They don't know what's at our world. They do actually have a general through here as well, which would be good to capture. They've got an Artuk general. That's interesting. So they've just got like a couple of small troop transports and some fuel tankers, so not a real big invasion fleet there. And the other one is the 11th, which is much, much larger, but almost out of fuel. And they've got 4 infantry, 8 armour. So there's a fairly big force there. Strength of 2,000 sort of like to land on the actual world itself. Now they're bouncing off this world and then they'll come into the Shidar system. When they hit here, they're going to be coming into Epure, and we actually have our first fleet with no mission, which is ideal. So we're just going to sort of basically sit here and just wait. Now what I can do is just move it out Now, what's that one there? This is the this is under construction. Destroyer. It's not one of our designs. This is Yaratos with the bubble shields. Is that line? Yeah, we've got a couple of these that have been lined up. I'll let them just continue on. These from when we took it over. It's just slowly sort of building these other ships, which is fine. I'll just let it happen. This was an old Miletus world. Yes, there's another one back over there as well. This one's repairing. And again, one of their Nooncross destroyers. Oh, that's part of the 1st Defence Force as well. Yep, so when I go and choose it, it's right there. So they're going to bounce in. Now, one of the things that they have, I think that they can actually... Actually, no, I've got them confused. I thought they could actually bounce in fairly fast, but they can move fast when they actually hit the world. So I want to go and move this one into where they're going to be coming from across. So I'm just going to move these up into this other location. They'll just start to sort of reassemble. Still a lot of interaction going on between all these different ships. Okay, so this one here is our military strategies have analysed the situation and want us to defend Cardamom 5. That's critical for us anyway, so yes, we'll accept that war mission. Cardamom 5 is a really, really important location for us. And we can now just watch as the under attack. So have a look at this one here. This is actually going to be our 7th, now moving in against this particular mining station. Mining station has got a cargo here of just Volful ascent. This is not inside our territory, but we'll just let the attack go in. Really shouldn't have any real big problem here. And here comes the pulse cannons. It's just an escort, and then we've got the heavy frigates coming in as well. Okay, 3rd Invasion Fleet sent in towards Appier as well. So we'll dismiss that one. We know that they're coming in. Dismiss that as well. Just going to open that up a second. It's not setting itself up properly at the top. This one here, we're not suffering too much with our shielding just yet, which is fine. This one here we should be able to pull apart fairly quickly. 5th Strike Force is moving towards Appier again. So we've got like all those different fleets we saw there before. Moving in. This one will be destroyed fairly quickly. Let's just go back out. Here they come. Now, as I said before, they move when they hit impulse. Actually, there's even more of them now coming in. So the 5th Strike Force, which is only small, 3rd Invasion Fleet, 11th Invasion Fleet. There's another one there as well. 11th. The 8th Invasion Fleet. We saw those. The 3rd Invasion Fleet. It's another one. With 1 infantry on it. Okay, they've got a lot of invasion fleets. Right, we're going to have a bit of a field day here, I think. Just taking out their ships as they arrive. Just move these across. Now the first, why aren't you guys moving? First Defence Force. I want them all moving. They're not moving. These are. Not sure why that's the case. It shouldn't be. I'm going to go into individual ships. Oh, they're pickets. They're okay. They've been set up as pickets. That's should be okay. They will sort of stay onto the side a little bit. That one's close escort. I think that these are escorting this. If I go and grab that ship and just tell it to move to there, that should then move. Yep, so we'll just go, it's now done one, we'll just go and assign the mission. You can see there we've already now got 3,000 points from that base that we just destroyed. It's now going to move off, and these should stay with this ship. Not yet. Hopefully will eventually. So we've set the first as no longer, here we go. So they've now bounced, they're starting to now bounce in. So they're getting closer and closer. It's mainly the invasion forces we need to destroy here. So I'm just going to destroy, as this one comes in. This is actually the one of the heavy frigates that they've got. They've got a an admiral on board, which is a fairly good admiral. But this one here, the 5th Strike Force, this is the lead ship of that particular group. And if I just go out to here and just go to the 5th Strike Force, there's 2 other ships coming in behind as well, which are way back here. So they've actually fallen out of favour. We're going to have a bit of time against this particular ship to take it on now. So we'll just go to the first and tell it that this is its attack. So we can get an idea of how far away they're going to be bouncing in with their like if we can actually hover in this area, we can destroy the invasion ships as they arrive. So just go in and attack this particular ship. Here they all come now. Yeah, they're going to start. These guys just don't want to play, do they? Here they come. That's a. I might just do a bit of a deeper dive into what's going on with the. We don't want to declare any more wars. And we'll just get rid of that one through there. So with the, I'll just go to half speed and we'll just talk about what's going on here. So this particular ship has fired its torpedo. These troop transports, actually it's only got that one there, so it wasn't that ship that fired. Must have still been this ship here. Does this one have torpedoes? It's got a shockwave. Yeah, these are unusual weapons. We haven't seen these before. They'd be cool to capture actually. So anyway, there's a torpedo which has been fired towards us, and then we're just using our sentinel beams from this particular ship, the sentinel multi-beam defense, to defend the actual ship itself. So it's firing at that one that's coming back through. The others are sort of all bunched, or they're going to be bunching up hopefully to take on these different ships. What we need to do is we need to find the ships with the armor, these Manta tanks, and destroy those ships now as a matter of priority. So I'll just go back to the first and tell them that this is now its priority. So attack the formidable master. We're seeing other missions, other missiles and things firing in. Not really taking too much damage just yet. Here comes the, this one's got like the pulse weapons as well. It's now moving off, it's trying to escape. It's already taken damage, so one of our deal breaker beams has already sort of gotten through and done some damage to one of the weapons and also one of the defences. So we'll sort of see deal breaker shots coming back in. There's a pulse wave cannon, but this one also has a pulse wave cannon on it as well. This big cruiser, the Tonchak design. That's the Fenmore. Just see if there's any other. Yeah, none of these are named that are close to this one just yet. We want to destroy these. We're seeing area of effect attacks going against these ships. We've got iron damage that's been done to engines and weapons on this particular ship as well. So this one becomes a bit more susceptible now to the attacks that are coming in. There's 2 ships there. Let's just keep it going. And we've just have to stay in the fight here until we sort of destroy these things. It's trying to jump. Destroy it, destroy it, destroy it. Not getting close enough to it. It's gone. So it managed to escape. Unfortunately, we're split. Our forces are all over the place. Just go and double check. Yeah, we should have a very tight formation. They've sort of kept themselves separate a little bit here. So this ship is now really close. This is point blank, so we'll now just go and attack this one. This one shouldn't really last very long. It's trying to jump as well. You may realise that it's actually in trouble. There's big iron cannons coming in as well to damage things. Damage it, damage it, damage it. Shielding is down. They're escaping, unfortunately. I don't need to do that one there. And let's get the first again and just keep on focusing on the ships that have got the they're trying to jump. That one's actually still there, but there's nothing actually on board. That one does have a general on board, so we'll go and try to capture that one. We just haven't had enough firepower to actually bring these down fast enough to be able to stop them from jumping. Escape. It's trying to escape. Come on, guys. Finish it off. Still jumping. We do have iron cannons on a lot of our ships, and that we're just not disabling it. Actually, I may have gotten rid of the iron cannons. It's because they were so weak against the others. It's gotten away as well. God, we've done nothing. We didn't even get one single ship. so they're all disappearing. Yeah, refueling at Sejanus 2. So they're moving over to here. Well, nothing much we can do about that. So they've got the second fleet, which is actually one of their attack fleets, which is coming to try to bombard Epirus. So we'll just stay where we are. So we'll just go and set it up in through here just to protect this zone yet again. Hopefully they can get with. If we had had all of the forces together, that would have actually worked out okay. So they are all now moving, which is good. No one really took any real damage, but we also didn't do any damage, and we do need to do that. But we're not ready with this particular fleet just yet. Now that one's moved off. It may just be escaping, I think. Here we go. Second fleet. Yep, so we'll dismiss that one. We're just going to keep that fleet where it is. So second is now just going to be ready to do the final jump. It's all fueled up and ready to go. But its firepower is not that good. Second fleet, you can see there, is about the same strength as our fleet, but it's mainly got bombardment, and this is actually where the Wekarus ships can be fairly good. If I just go to the this is their fleet through there. They've got frigates, they've got the small fuel tankers, they've got a lot of, and they've got only one destroyer. So these frigates are going to be then using their pulse wave cannons to do a little bit of light bombardment, which is not really going to be enough. Now the system that we have through here, what I might just do in this instance is just go back into the Afar system. This is going to become a bit of a target. So we do actually have a high fighter base in here, which has got 24 fighter capacity, plus the administration centre, and we've got a heap of troops on the ground. Third invasion force. Where's that? Show me. What are you doing out here? Okay, this destroyer should not be out here, wherever that is. It's in the Thracia system. I need to get this thing away. So I'm going to get it to also join up with the first fleet, maybe. I'm going to tell it to go back here. So hopefully it'll escape before it takes too much damage. Just jumping away. This is that big ship that we saw there before. Oh, we've got an enhanced construction now. That's going to push us along a bit more. That's good. Got one more year before we can then start to get the bigger spaceports, which will then make defending everything a bit easier as well. So that's okay. We've got that one out of the way there now. So this is the second fleet coming in. They're moving fast through space. That's 407. It's not much more than us. So this will be a big attack against our first fleet. So this will be interesting to sort of see how things go. But we're in a good position here. Just got to hope that we're... yeah, we are all now... See how we're all bunched together? This then means that we're going to have like a lot of firepower. Here they come. So what we'll do is we'll just go back to half speed because they do travel extremely quickly. Except war mission, destroy mining station. Let's see where that one actually is. We should be able to send out a mission to do that one anyway. Where is it? Way over here. That is a long way off. I'll still accept it though. You see our war weariness is just -1 at this stage. We just need to destroy some of their ships. We just haven't been able to sort of get through, but now we've got like a large number of them. They also get these ghost ships, which just at spawn, because that's, you know, so they can rely on maybe sort of like 3 ghost ships per biggish fleet usually. So they're coming in to try to bombard the planet. All we're going to do is just take out, that's frigates. What else they got? Just many frigates. So there's a destroyer there. So it doesn't matter what we sort of take on. Just we want to get our war score up. So the first is sort of ready to roll. Let's just stay where we are for a second. And here they come. Now these guys here, the destroyers, have got like the large pulse wave cannons, which I would like to destroy. But I'll just focus on these in through here. We'll just go and attack. The pulse wave cannons are really devastating weapons. That was one of ours that got killed, and one of theirs was one of theirs. Now it's trying to jump. We don't have enough boarding assault strength at this stage to take that one on, so we'll just let it get killed. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, the 5th Defence Force wants to attack. I'll accept that. I'll sign that mission. That's actually towards our home systems, which is sort of out of the way of everything else we're doing. I was trying to escape because the shielding is down too low. Every time we give it a new mission, this is good. We're now up to 11,000. We'll just keep on focusing. Now that we've got the firepower, by keeping our swarms together, we can sort of then do a lot more damage with all of these. So they're moving off, they're running away. It's gone, that's good. Just keep on destroying as many as we possibly can here. Okay, they've all gone. Alright, that was good. So we'll now just go back in. We've got a retrofit. Now, I'm hoping it's not these guys. It is. So what I don't want these to do is to retrofit. So these particular ships are stronger than my basic. They've got the bubble shields, and this is worth a lot to me. So what I need to do is I need to stop them from thinking that they need to retrofit up, because they're considering themselves an old design, even though they're much better than my destroyer designs. So if you have a look at my destroyers, I've got destroyer version 2s, which have got a strength of 163, as opposed to these destroyers with a strength of 627 with the bubble shields. So I don't want them to be retrofitted. So I think the easiest way to do this is to go into the ship designs. And at the moment, we're just looking at active buildable designs. That's not what I want. I want to do all designs, which is overwhelming. Now that one there was, what was it called? We're still doing it by destroyers. So let's just have a quick look down for the destroyers. The Jutang is in there. So we'll just do it by roll. So we've got the Yatos and the Nuncross in through here. So these are two designs that we don't. So they're on manual and retrofit. I'm going to make them toggle here whether the ships bases of this design are automatically retrofitted when newer designs are available. I'm going to make those two manual as well. And so I've got to specifically tell them to go and do it, which is still not going to be enough. So these, actually the Raki as well is another design. It's an old design, so I won't worry about that one so much. But these are the actual designs that we're looking for: the Nuncross and the Yatos. I think we've got one of each. Yeah, we do have one of each. You can see them through there. So what I need to do here is just go back into these. Just go to Edit, and this design upgrades to none. So we're not going to have any upgrades there, and we're just going to go and save that one. Also, I want to change this one to aggressive, and then 2050. So just so that it actually does what the rest of our ships do. So we'll just go and actually can't even save that one. Yeah, unfortunately that's not going to work. Just go cancel there for a second, and just try that again. Try it with this one here. Yeah, I can't save and exit. Normally you can. Aggressive. Between 20%, and that should be 2050. I have to be able to save to be able to do that one. I can still do it a different way with that aspect of it, but not with the retrofits. So if we go back to the other one again and edit, we're still there. So it still wants to upgrade to that other design, unfortunately, which is not good. Which is not what we want. So I don't think there's a way around that, unfortunately, with what we're doing. I can change the way it works in here with the aggressive 2050 and apply this to all of these, or to basically to all ships. So it's now been applied to all of them. So we've then got the same sort of deal that we've now got in through this other side. Yeah, it's tricky. So I can't actually, the upgrade here, it does want to upgrade, and which is a problem. And I can't actually edit the process there. So I'm thinking that eventually this will just become just one of our low-level destroyers. But I really want these to just do their own thing for a little while. We'll just see how we go. So I'm pretty sure the retrofitting is literally just those two ships. Off they go. Be gone. Hi, Francois Van Ziel and Adrian. And Hoffman, and Bjolf, and Sev as well, and Cosmoro. So welcome, guys. Bolan P, you actually you got killed. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. So Bolan, yeah. So anyway, you ended up being killed by von Schweinhund. Accept trade. I'm not going to worry about that one. I'll just decline that one for now. Assign mission. I will assign that one at the Afar system. So I'll just go off and do different things. Now, what is the first doing right there? Don't do that. Need to come back here and just sit back and we've got repair. I'll just go back to move there. Fuel and repair at Epia. I might just do that one. Let's just go back and send it back that way. So they've been given a bit of a blood nose. Oh, okay. So this is the Lost Dagger Syndicate eliminated by the Dayot Inquisition. Now that was a pirate faction, I think. Which is fine. Yeah, exactly. So I had the same problem. I just made a new fleet and added it so that it wouldn't update, and then moved it back. Yeah, I think in the end it's going to ultimately they'll be upgraded automatically. I think I'll just leave it. I'll just let them do their thing. I'm going to forget about it at some point. You know what I should do is actually pull them apart. I think there's 2 of them there, so let's actually pull them apart and for pieces, because that's really what we end up doing anyway. So let's have them leave the fleet and then retire at Epia, and we'll do the same the other one as well. Leave the fleet and retire at the Epia spaceport. So they'll both now be pulled apart for parts. Hopefully we get some bubble shielding out of that one, or get close to being able to at least get it on the list. Yeah, money situation still not great with the cash flow. Now, we're not going to see big fights coming into the Cardama system. The 7th is, where are you? They're down here. Just coming in to attack these things. Leave that where that is. And I really want to ultimately end up with the smaller fleet to go off and destroy that that other system there. We've got this destroy this mining base. I'm just going to wait for the 7th to finish their mission here, and then we'll send them off manually to go and do that one. So Owen Buchanan saying, I love this game, also enjoying your Archon Prophecy playthrough. Hello from Scotland. Hello back. And yes, I'm looking forward to getting back into Age of Wonders 4 with the Archons. It's good fun actually. It's pretty cool. It's gonna be a hard game to win that one. Still a lot of fighting to do, but it's been pretty cool so far. Now here comes the 8th back up again, coming back into the Cardama system. There's no worlds I need to take over, so I don't think I'll load up the invasion fleet just yet. The Sejanus system is tempting, but it's just there's too much going on in here that I'll ultimately be wanting to get these worlds, not so much these. They have destroyed one of our bases, I'm not sure where. End the war, decline that. Not that we have a real lot we can do here. The 7th are inside a nebula now, fighting away. Now they're proposing an end to our war. I'm going to decline this as well, because ultimately they've probably got technology that they may have technology that I want. They weren't very good with technology, but let's just see what we can get from them. let's decline that for now, because I really can't see them being able to do too much. Accept war mission, research new technology. This is the annihilating bombardment, so we need to get the which I don't mind as well. Accept that war mission. It's not anything to do with us, and we'll decline that. You know, the bombardment weapons is actually not a bad thing for us to look at. Planetary iron weapons. That was the one it wanted us to do, I think, wasn't it? The advanced bombardment. I might queue that one up because we do actually have this one here, which does a lot of damage. We don't need it, you know. We actually don't need that one. I think I'll just leave it. I'll leave it where we are. But this one does want... oh, hang on. You should research annihilating bombardment by the specified date. That's not going to happen. We're too slow with research. Let's just have a quick look at that, though. Annihilating bombardment. Where is that? We can't do it anyway. It's outside of what we can do. Yeah, we're 34 away from being able to in just in our technology, so we can't do that one anyway. So it's just not going to happen. But having said that, we could start to bombard. We could actually go full on evil and actually bombard a lot of the homeworlds into non-existence. That would be really, really damaging. So we do have that option available to us. Now they're sending different fleets around as well. We're not at war with them, but I just don't trust them. Okay, here comes the 8th again. So everything is settled back down again. Now it still wants to retrofit here. I will actually do it. I'm not sure which ships it wants to do. We're not seeing any more of their fleets. Their fleets have gone off to lick their wounds back in the Warness system. I'm not sure which ship wants to go and retrofit. This will just help with our spaceports and medium construction ships. So this is just going to give us a bit more of support as we sort of move through. Cash flow is now positive again for a change, which is good, even though we've got a little bit of war weariness. It's not much. Okay, we evaded detection. All right, that's fine. Declare war. No, we won't worry about that just yet. So we just wait for something to happen. There's no territories around that we really need to worry about. As like we can't build in here. I do want to be building a probably in there in the Navalon system. Build that and ultimately build a long-range scanner. Jeez, these guys are being pushed right back now. They're just one little area, one little. One planet left, I think. So they're going to be out of the game very, very soon. Is the 7th on its way back out? Yeah, it is. It's got some damage. Oh no, it's okay. So I'll be wanting the 7th to go off and do this mission up here. Now I do have 2 large fleets back there as well. I see, keep on looking at this system thinking, do I really want this system? And the fact it's split into 2 like this sort of does bother me. I don't think I'm going to get much benefit from that. It's just going to mean 2 planets that I then need to pay maintenance costs on, and I've just got to be careful with my money. And then I've got this one as well, which is a single world, but it's just not really going to do much for me. If I was saying I'd like to see a module that negates the actual speed penalty in the nebula in some way. I think there is later on in the text, but it's sort of a bit too far hard for us to look at that one. Just missed that one. I thought there was something that actually made it a bit easier. There we go. We've now got enhanced research. I'm not going to worry about doing anything myself with this. I'm just going to let the AI manage the design and building of the new spaceports. See that one, Cardama, is just in the process now of retrofitting. It's just dropped its long-range scanner. And so I'm going to decline that one. We just want to keep that one going for a little bit longer. If we have a look at the Cardama system, we should see that it's now gone into retrofit. So it's under construction. So this one here is retrofitting to Spaceport version 3. So it's now going to have like a whole lot of new stuff applied to it, all sorts of different armor, etc. Some hive hangers, long-range sensor. So it's actually doing a complete rebuild. And we should probably see that there'll be pockets all the way through where the long-range scanners will now sort of drop out as the retrofits then go through and get rebuilt. This is now dropped as well. It shouldn't take too long. That's dropped. So they'll just automatically, because of the automation, they'll just automatically do what they have to do. So we're in a bit of a vulnerable time right now with this stuff coming in. We do want to get this structured research, 15 years to get that. And you can see there our money now is just drained right away. So this is now we're getting into a dangerous period here. This is actually all of the cost of building these star bases is actually why we've lost so much money. It will come back up, but we just need to just manage it a little bit. 7th is on its way back up. Seventh is still set to come back through. Just let it happen at Cardama. I'm going to decline that mission because I now want to start to use these ones to do the war missions. So because they're a raiding force, they've been sort of told that this is now their. We're going to keep on asking us to go and do this one. I'm going to go to the 7th now and just set it to manual. That way it won't ask me anymore. And it's got no mission, but I just want it to come back in and refuel. That one's still a little way off. Refuel at Cardama 5. And then we'll move it off. Now we should be able to have better war weariness overall than the enemy. And we'll be able to use the Shidar system to then support attacks that then go in. I'll decline that one. Decline that as well. We don't need that. Money is just middling around on 0. As we get money, the retrofits will then be taken bit by bit, so we're going to be losing money for a long period of time. There we go, Cardamom has just come back online. So now have their larger spaceport. Again, I'm not going to worry about sort of designing this myself. This one's still actually being built. Just going to wait for these fleets to do something. The Shidar system, its long-range scanner hasn't come back yet. Again, we're seeing money dwindling away. Not seeing any other retrofits happening just yet. I think Ceridwen did that one. I think no, Chelab actually has now done its new spaceport. So the 7th, we'll just wait for that one to refuel and then we'll send it off. And I might set just the home base of the 7th back up into the Shidar system. Set that as a home base. But when we start to put it back onto auto again, you can then raid from here. It's a good raiding location actually for everything. When we're all back with the Miletus again as well. Just wait for them to fuel up and then we'll move them off. There we go. Shidar long-range scanner is now just kicked back in again, which is good. Yeah, they're just coming back into Cardamom now. In the war, I want them to. I want to do a bit more here before we actually end this war. The war weariness, so I'll start to worry once we get to probably like negative, 5 or 6. Yeah, they're going to keep on offering as well, but I'm going to keep on declining. The trouble will be as if the Miletus then declare war against us. We have to be careful that we don't get too much war weariness before that starts to kick in. There we are. The fuel is now coming back into the ships with the 7th. So still got a couple more ships to be refueled. That is at the moment the range of the fleet. That yellow dotted line. This is a jump range. So they should all be fueling up. Come on, ships. They're still set to do it. They're just queuing up, I would imagine, to get the fuel from the starbase. Here they come. One more. That one's back up again. Still one to do it. Where is it? Oh, it's in there. Here it comes. So 7th is now completely refueled, so that was inside the space station, just getting the fuel. Treasure recovered. Again, we've got ships that have just been inside fighting, like where things have been fighting. Let's leave that one where that is. All right, time to go off and do this mission. Now we have the one we have is destroy the enemy mining station. This is the mining station out here. Which one is it? It's the Eremit mining station. So that is the Royal Resort, and that's the Eremit mining station. So we're just going to go and tell them to go and attack that particular one. So 7th now move off, and then we'll set them to raid from this location. So they'll go back to Shidar after this, and just keep on raiding around, doing different things. That will just give us one more of the of this war mission. Now I have 2 big fleets here as well. Here we go, here we go. So we've now got another fleet coming back in. So we're just seeing these on the edge of the radar. Okay, so they're moving in. Bombard the Afar system. And we're in a good position here. We're on the right vector. And again, we'll just try to kill as many of these ships as we possibly can. Again, our money is just going to, until we actually get all these retrofits of the spaceports done, it's we're just going to keep on sort of losing money here. But ultimately, we're doing okay. Okay, let's wait for these to come in. Let's grab the first, and we've got these are under manual control. Let's get them ready. See how much faster their ships are than our ships. We just want to focus on one ship at a time. When the deal breaker beams go in, they're the ones that do the damage into the hull. Reactor offline, can't do the jump. Everything's gone. Let's go and get this one. Just getting up on one ship at a time. Again. Did manage to get away. They're jumping as well. Back up to 13,000 now. We've actually destroyed a few more of their ships. Now they've got ghost ships in around here as well. I don't know if we get credit for those. So we'd find out pretty soon. 1,000. No. I did say it gave us an extra credit there in the numbers. General was saying, how do you effectively conquer enemy territory and stuff within it when you make peace with an enemy? Do you have to demand their mining stations after capturing some planets so you don't end up with just the planets? Yeah, ultimately that can be part of, like often they'll offer you what's inside your territory. Now I didn't get all of the stuff that should have been given to me when we made peace the last time with the Quamino, but if they do actually, as long as it's inside the borders that we have, they will then go and usually that will be part of a peace deal once you end up like beyond the white peace stuff, which nothing has really come in just yet. The more I can make this war score, the more likely they are then to want to negotiate with me. 7th is now moving off. I'll just let that one continue on its job. Once we get this one raiding inside their territory, we're going to find, like, see, for example, they've got mining bases in here as well, which I'll be wanting to take out. It's definitely something I want to be in control of. There was a group that was actually at war with the Miletus, which is interesting. I'm going to decline that. We're at -4 now. I just want them to start offering me things. If we have a look at at what's going on through here, the Miletus have only got mild. They're going to be at war with us again fairly soon, I would guess. This one here, they're we've only got mild, actually. That's, yeah, maybe we should actually make peace. We're not really going to gain anything much. If they offer peace, I'll accept it, I think. So the war score is a fund that allows you to gobble up enemy stuff. To a degree, it's sort of like and you need a lot of it. Like you need thousands upon thousands. We've only got 13,000, which is not really much at all. So it's not really going to have any real bearing on the game. Foreign agent captured. There we go. One of the Tekin spies has been caught. Just keep them sort of bouncing up towards their territory anyway. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like the Wekaris have been able to, you know, sort of their war score has actually been, they've been able to manage that fairly effectively, which is interesting. I mean, they are an interesting faction to play. Now, this one here, Strike Force, enemy fleet of the Karamoja Royal Dominion has been detected on attack towards the Shogun Research Center. Where the hell is that? Oh, we've got planetary defense units. Actually, one of our spies has stolen planetary defense units from the Miletus. That's actually useful. We'll just get rid of that one. So that's now been stolen. And that's way down over there. Well, they're not going to be able to take that. So I'm not really too concerned about what we're seeing there. Fifth Strike Force. Where is their Fifth Strike Force? There. Okay, we will have to get across there. So I'm going to send a third defense force up that way. Is that it there? Yep, that's it there. Make that the home base, and we'll just go and tell it to go and refuel. It'll still then stay there as a defensive, in a defensive role. It's doing 50 m range of that research centre now, so it'll move there. Hopefully it'll get there before the others. Okay, so it's moving off. So there's a bit of a sneak attack coming from the Valinar system. Again, long-range scanners have helped us out there. So the third will now move off. They should get there before they do. I think our hyperspace speeds are about the same. They're still moving away. The seventh is now bouncing into this location. We'll bounce back up and heading towards that one there. Rivalries. Who is it this time? So we've got the spy Jotar Lijar and the operative light. Well, operative light does have the better stats, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just have a quick look and see. So whoever's got the better stats is the one. So this one here has only got 2. Yeah, so definitely operative light. It's got heaps more, so we'll go operative light. So operative light will now go and get, doesn't have any traits, so let's just see what we end up getting with this one. And so it's now lawful, which means assassination goes down, sabotage goes down, psyops goes down, but counter-espionage goes up. So not fantastic, unfortunately. Wow, we actually got a lot of negatives there. That should be a good, that's actually not a good one to get. Dismiss. Anyway, that's interesting. We don't want lawful spies. Now that one's moving down to also protect that one. I'm just going to go and grab the second and just tell them not to do that. Just keep them back here. We're not going to need it if the third's there. Yeah, Tenor is saying Distant Worlds 2 is so much better than the first game. Hands down, yes it is. It's an incredible game. So Jimmy James saying, hi, have you ever played the first game, Distant Worlds Universe? How is the second part nowadays in relation to the first game? Yeah, it's dramatically better. Distant Worlds Universe was mind-blowingly good in its day, but this is so much better than Distant Worlds 1, and getting better and better all the time. There's a lot of good stuff coming for it. All right, that's moving in. That one's moving off. Seeing the end of those. Now look at the time, guys. I'm going to actually call it quits here. So we've going to have to leave it here, and yeah, I'll have to come back next week to sort of try to finish off this war. I think we're close to ending this war. It'll be a bit of a white peace, I think, ultimately. So I don't want to get my war weariness up too much before these guys attack. That's going to be quite hard to sort of deal with them. There we go. Got a long-range scanner there by the looks of things. I don't. That's just a resort base. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, it's just a long-range scanner there anyway. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow to play something. I don't know what that will be. But anyway, I'll catch you then if you're around. Thanks for watching. What does weariness do? Says Tenru. I did cover that at the start of the stream. What it does ultimately do is affect your happiness, and what that ultimately does is affect your money. So weariness basically means that your production stops largely. So that's the main, like in a real nutshell, that's what it does do. It affects the happiness of your citizens, which ultimately affects the taxation and then affects the money. All right. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys, and as I said, I'll be back tomorrow to play something. I don't know what that will be just yet.